hitting. It's riveting. It's the much talked about cover story during Nationwide at 5. Here Cliff Hughes get to the heart of the story of the day.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I am George Davis.
And I'm Robeanne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, "Me no afraid of nobody." Prime Minister Holness declares war on those telling lies about his government's Hurricane Melissa response.
Me not afraid of nobody. All who want to make me one. Me we go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. Too much false information.
Food for the poor to mobilize $500 million to build houses for Jamaicans left homeless by Hurricane Melissa.
And today marks exactly 1 month since the passage of Hurricane Melissa.
Opposition MP Nikisha Burchell pleads for clothing for residents in her constituency.
Clothing, including underwear, is still a need here, and I'm begging you.
In news from the rest of the world, Donald Trump and Nicolas Maduro spoke last week amid threat of regime change in Venezuela.
Flight disruption warning as Airbus requests modifications to 6,000 planes.
In headline sports, veteran cricket commentator says Dr. Kishore Shalom must resign as Cricket West Indies boss now that he has won a seat in his country's parliament.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Telecom's giant Flow wants tougher laws to punish the thieves who vandalized their infrastructure during this period of disaster recovery. Flow Jamaica's General Manager Stephen Price and CEO of Digicel Jamaica Steve Murad will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, would you be upset to receive soup for dinner on a Sunday? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the PIOJ is projecting the economy will enter a recession as a result of the economic shock from Hurricane Melissa. We'll get reactions from the PSOJ President, Metri Siaga, JCC President, Emil Leiber, and Kevin Firth of the SBAJ.
NDP supporters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines say thank God it's Friday. Dr. Godwin Friday, the new Prime Minister, ending Ralph Gonsalves' 24-year hold in power. Trinidadian Senator Anil Roberts will join us to react to the election result.
And at 8, it's the A-Team with Dennis Brooks.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile Nationwide 90FM, RevaNews.ai, and on the Reva News app, available on Google Play and the App Store this Friday afternoon, Friday, November 28, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Me no afraid of nobody. That's the retort from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness as he voiced his intention to go to war with those spreading misinformation and disinformation about his government's response to the damage in Western Jamaica caused by Hurricane Melissa. He was speaking at the grand opening of the Little London Police Station in the parish. Robeanne Williams has this story.
The Prime Minister today shot back at what he says is the daily barrage of accusations from various quarters that the government is motivated by partisan considerations as it works to provide assistance to the people worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. The opposition PNP claims the relief effort, particularly in western parishes, is slow, inadequate, and influenced by political motive. They also allege that aid distribution is being directed by government ministers and political operatives instead of elected opposition representatives. The Prime Minister is declaring war on what he has framed as the coordinated dissemination of lies.
It is not just managing the disaster, it is managing the false information. And we have to go to war with that. Too much false information, distracting the people when we need to have a positive mindset for recovery. And it is one thing that you will see about me. Me not afraid of nobody. All who want to make me one. Me will go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. And as you would have seen with the government, man come out with foolishness, we respond, not go so. And as many means as they can make, I can make it too. So it's going to be war, because we cannot allow people who peddle nonsense, the people who tell lies, we cannot allow them to win. So we will have it out.
Dr. Holness says he's disgusted by attempts to politicize the distribution of relief packages.
We are going to transition from giving out of packages because it's becoming highly political. Who never get, and if you go to a man's place and then him say, oh, you never call me to go give package with you. You know, the funny thing is this, the amount of JLP people who call me to say, PMP, MPs get package and don't come to them. And I said, look, I don't want a political issue. Don't bother make no noise over that. It is disgusting that persons would want to make political issues over the distribution of aid. We have to bring an end to it then, because some people can't help themselves. They can't resist it. And so we are going to shift from the distribution of food packages to giving persons coupons or cards that they can go and buy the stuff that they need.
The Holness administration has been criticized for the method it's using to distribute several hundred electric generators to residents in communities who've been without power since the hurricane. The Prime Minister says the devices have to be strategically deployed.
You can't share up 600 generators for 150,000 people or 42,000 homes. It's not possible. So what do you do with the generator? First thing you do is you want to give it to areas where its use will be multiplied. Police stations that now don't have generators, you give them generators. Now what some people would have done if they were the government is to just take it and give it to them friend and give it to them company and nobody would benefit. That is what they're trying to do, you know. That is why they are saying that nonsense, because that is, they believe that they would get political power by saying I would give it to my friend and company. And there are those who are not thinking who would follow it. My government doesn't do that.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister says he anticipates that some people will find reason to criticize him for opening a police station in Little London amid the problems being experienced by so many elsewhere in Westmoreland.
I know that there are the constant naysayers, the nitpickers, those people who will find the iota of negativity in a world of positive to say, why am I opening up a police station when right around and close by there are persons without roofs? I should have taken the money we used to fix this new police station and fix all the roofs. So for those who will want to criticize the opening of a police station in the midst of a disaster recovery process, this police station was conceptualized in 2017. This police station, it's more than just an investment in security.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
Food for the Poor Jamaica has committed to mobilizing up to $5 million to repair and rebuild homes across the country that were damaged by Hurricane Melissa. That's almost 800 million Jamaican dollars. The charitable organization made the announcement in a statement on Friday, a month after Melissa tore across western Jamaica. Chairman of Food for the Poor Jamaica, Andrew Mahfood, says the organization's focus is shifting from immediate relief to long-term stability for families who lost their homes or suffered severe structural damage. He says the $5 million commitment will allow the organization to begin ordering materials, staging supplies, and getting repair teams into communities without delay. Mahfood notes that for houses that were destroyed, FFTP Jamaica will build an enhanced version of its long-standing wood frame house. The updated model includes concrete strengthening for higher wind resilience, reinforced roof structures, and improved structural durability. To accelerate rebuilding, the charity is pursuing additional financing tools that will allow construction to begin immediately. Mahfood says the charity will be buying locally to help stimulate the Jamaican economy and speed up deployment.
Meanwhile, Food for the Poor Jamaica says its Hurricane Melissa response has been the fastest and the largest national response in its 43-year history. The Category 5 hurricane made landfall on October 28. Since then, Food for the Poor says it has worked closely with the government of Jamaica, churches, local and international partners to deliver more than 116 emergency shipments, including air and sea cargo. It has increased the local warehouse output to 3,500 food kits per day. Over the period, Food for the Poor says it has moved over 4 million pounds of food, water, hygiene supplies, medical goods, tarpaulins, generators, emergency shelter materials, bedding and cleaning supplies, reaching more than 24,000 families. It has dispatched hundreds of roof repair kits to heavily affected communities in western parishes, with more to be rolled out once field teams complete detailed assessments. The charity has deployed 1,600 volunteers to support its work.
Today, Friday, November 28, marks exactly 1 month since the passage of Hurricane Melissa, and the government says it's working hard to help people recover from the worst natural disaster to ever hit the country. So, what has been achieved to date as the recovery process continues apace in the 5 parishes hit hardest by the Category 5 system? Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The bill from the damage caused by Hurricane Melissa is huge. How big? $9 billion and counting. That's over 1 trillion Jamaican dollars, or 40% of the country's annual gross domestic product, GDP. This has left the country reeling. According to Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry, recovery will take up to 5 years.
Recovery to pre-Hurricane Melissa output levels is conservatively projected to be within 3 to 5 years. There was significant loss of productive assets, which implies that an extended time is required to rebuild.
Several parts of St. Elizabeth, St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover remain without electricity or running water. Some residents are getting by largely on aid brought in by various arms of the state and their foreign collaborators. According to Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, Commander Alvin Gale, more than 200,000 food packages have been delivered since the hurricane's passage.
As we continue our efforts to ensure that aid is equitably distributed, we can report that this morning some 209,000 food packages have been delivered via the national system. Other relief supplies including tarpaulins, shelter repair kits, hygiene kits, and water have also been distributed from the national system.
Over 500 generators have been delivered to communities in the worst affected parishes as part of efforts to kickstart economic activity through corner shops, bars, and restaurants. On the education front, over 800 schools have reopened their doors, whether partially or in full, 1 month after the hurricane's passage. The health sector in Western Jamaica was left reeling, with key facilities damaged. However, multiple field hospitals have been set up to supplement the immediate needs, thanks to assistance from various foreign governments. The wider Jamaica is also feeling the effect of the hurricane's estimated $30 billion impact on agriculture. The price of some food items has risen exponentially due to partly to the laws of supply and demand and the human tendency to exploit a crisis by jacking up the cost of goods to consumers. In response, the government has loosened restrictions on some imports. It has also provided grants and other forms of direct assistance to farmers in those parts of the island which were spared Melissa's wrath. The idea is simple: boost food production in least affected parishes to neutralize the effect of the fall in productivity in places like St. Elizabeth. The linchpin of Jamaica's economy, tourism, was thrown into disarray, with many hotels forced to temporarily close. In the case of the Bahia group of hotels, about 2,000 workers are set to lose their jobs as the properties undergo major repairs and refurbishment. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has thrown the full force of the government behind restoring the critical industry, setting an ambitious deadline of December 15 for a reasonable return to activity. With a lot done in a month and so much more to do over the coming months, one of the few certainties is that the recovery will take a long time to happen. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Siobhan. You're listening to the news on Nationwide 90 FM. More after these.
See twice the style for less at IQ Optical. Buy 1 pair of glasses and get your second and third pair half price. Don't miss out. Call 876-929-7732 or visit IQ Optical today, where clarity never looked sharper.
The time by IQ Optical is
5:14.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rentokil Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 in Montego Bay, and 24 over in Mandeville.
Secure the season. Tips from Hawkeye. When shopping, keep your children close and within sight at all times. Watch your surroundings, secure your belongings, and stay alert to anything unusual. Secure the season with Hawkeye.
That Christmas security tip was brought to you by Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
Continuing the news. Member of Parliament for South St. James, the PNP's Nikisha Burchell, says residents in her constituency are in need of clothing as they look to reset their lives following the damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. She was speaking earlier on Friday on the second leg of Nationwide's Rebuilding Jamaica tour in St. James.
Clothing, including underwear, is still a need here. And I'm begging you, we are in need, but we're asking you to treat us with some dignity. Ensure that what you send to us are new, especially undergarments. But if you are sending us clothing that has been worn, make sure it is something that you would still wear yourself. It is of good quality and good condition. Launder them if you must. Clothes is an urgent need.
MP Burchell says there's a need for seedlings among the farmers in her constituency who are keen to replant their fields.
You're here today, the line is long out to the gate and it's gonna get longer. So food is still a daily need. So yes, people will come in and donate bags of food that can last for a family 2 days or so. But the next 2 days, they need another bag. But I know this is not a sustainable project. So we're trying to see how we can get back to producing for ourselves. We're farmers. So we want the seeds, the seedlings and the planting materials. We want the yam head, we want the planting sucker, we want the potato slip, we want the banana sucker, we want the lettuce and the pop chow seed, so that hopefully by spring we can have some of our own things.
Nikisha Burchell, MP for South St. James.
Mayor of Maypen, Joel Williams, says the northern belt of Clarendon is still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa 1 month later. He was speaking at a Hurricane Melissa Recovery Forum hosted by Serenity Resource Connector on Thursday. Abigail Bartley reports.
Mayor Williams says many people seem unaware of the scale of the damage in several parts of northern Clarendon caused by Hurricane Melissa.
Unfortunately, there are many Clarendonians who are journeying all the way down to the west, not knowing fully well that their own backyard is devastated. There are 13 to 14 communities in the parish of Clarendon that have been badly hit. In the northern belt of Frankfield, Victoria, Bloomwell, Sunbury, Crofts Hill, Union Town, all of those areas have been badly hit by this Hurricane Melissa. A lot of people believe that because nothing happened on the plane, Mitchelltown, Rocky Point and those areas, that we went unscathed and there was no impact. That is not so.
The Maypen mayor says farmers have been particularly hard hit.
Heavy beating in those areas, in the Bagwell area, in the Kellitch area, Brandon Hill, Longbow, all those areas have been badly hit as it relates to farmers who have lost their animals. And so, yes, the impact has been great. Small shopkeepers, because you're aware that without electricity, these small shopkeepers would have to close shop. You're not able to have any of your livestock that have been butchered, chicken, goat meat, beef. You're not able to have any of those and refrigerators in any of these areas because there's no electricity.
But Mayor Williams says there's been some relief to the affected communities.
There's a three-pronged approach that is now in operation because the JDF continues to roll out, going into various communities. For example, the Smithville area was locked off for about 1 week before any food could get in there because of block roads. Those areas were open after the first week, and so we were able to get food supply in there by the JDF. Also, I want to give thanks to our Custos, the areas that have been badly hit. She moves in and brought in food supply to help those persons in those areas.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The world in a minute.
To news concerning the region now. Quoting a report published by the New York Times, Bloomberg News says U.S. President Donald Trump spoke with his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro last week. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly joined the two presidents on the call, but they've not made plans for a meeting. The development comes as the U.S. ramps up pressure on Venezuela ahead of potential military strikes. Since September, the U.S. has been intensifying its pressure on Venezuela as part of a counter-narcotics operation targeting drug trafficking. The Trump administration claims the drug trafficking ring is being led by Maduro's regime. That campaign has seen the U.S. build up its military presence in the region, including with an aircraft carrier and warships, and senior American military officials meeting leaders in the Caribbean. Additionally, it has carried out military strikes on boats in the Caribbean Sea and Pacific Ocean, which it says were trafficking drugs. Those strikes killed over 80 people.
European aerospace giant Airbus has warned that flights will be disrupted after it requested immediate modifications to thousands of its planes. The move comes after the discovery that intense radiation from the sun could corrupt data crucial to flight controls. About 6,000 planes are thought to be affected, which makes up about half of Airbus's global fleet. But it is understood most will be able to undergo a simple software update. The UK's aviation regulator says carrying out the updates would likely cause some disruption and cancellations to flights. EasyJet, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, Air India, Wizz Air, and Air New Zealand have all warned of disruption to flights. American Airlines says 340 of its planes are affected, and it expects some operational delays, but expects the vast majority of updates to be completed today or tomorrow.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Prime Minister Holness declares war on those telling lies about his government's Hurricane Melissa response.
Me not afraid of nobody. All who want talk, make me one. Me we go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. Too much false information.
Food for the poor to mobilize $500 million to build houses for Jamaicans left homeless by Hurricane Melissa.
And today marks exactly 1 month since the passage of Hurricane Melissa.
Opposition MP Nikisha Burchell pleads for clothing for residents in her constituency.
And Dr. Godwin Friday has been sworn in as the new Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm George Davis.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at rivernews.ai and on the River News app, available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, headlines at 6.
We in this together, hands on hearts spread wide. We know things will get better, working side by side. We in this together, rebuilding homes and lives, no matter the weather. You are not alone.
Sagicor is contributing over $200 million to Jamaica's Hurricane Melissa recovery. We're also standing by our clients. If you're a client in need of support, call 888-SAGICOR.
Help you take a better route. Become a mentor in the Ministry of Justice Child Diversion Program. To become a mentor, you must be a Jamaican citizen over 18 years old, literate, with at least a secondary level education, have at least 1 year working experience, be willing to volunteer for at least 1 year, and be non-partisan, confidential, and a person of integrity. Download the application form at moj.gov.jm and submit to any child diversion office island-wide. For more details, call the ministry at 888-JUSTICE. That is 888-587-8423. Help a youth take a better route. Join the Child Diversion Mentorship Program today.
We in this together, hands on hearts spread wide. We know things will get better, working side by side. We in this together, rebuilding homes and lives, no matter the weather. You are not alone.
Sagicor is contributing over 200 million to Jamaica's Hurricane Melissa recovery. We're also standing by our clients. If you're a client in need of support, call 888 Sagicor.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swaby. We kick things off with some football as defending champions Kingston College returned to action in the round of 16 of the Issa Manning Cup schoolboy football competition with a 3-0 win over Campion College at Jamaica College on Friday. Meanwhile, Women's beat Tivoli Gardens 2-0. At sports time, Vauxhall were leading St. George's College 3-1. Calabar and Hydel were locked at 1-1. Eltham High leads Mona 1-0, and the games between Stats and Excelsior and Jamaica College and St. Jago were locked at 0-all. Now, Nikisha Burchell, Member of Parliament for Southern St. James, has weighed in on the withdrawal of Malden High School from the Issa Da Costa Cup football competition. Malden qualified for the round of 16 for the first time in their history, but was forced to pull out of the competition following damage done to players' houses and personal belongings. Coach Dylan Telwell told the Nationwide Sports this week that only a maximum of 4 players turned up for training since it was announced that there would be a restart to the competition. Burchell, in whose constituency Malden is located, says she's disappointed the school had to withdraw.
Sadly, we lost the D-Cup team from Malden High because they had advanced so far in the competition, but since Hurricane Melissa, people have been displaced, and so they haven't been able to pull their team together to complete their run in this tournament, and that's a heartbreak for us, but Hurricane Melissa is affecting us in every way possible.
Nikisha Burchell, Malden's principal, Janet Manning, says they're still trying to locate some members of the team.
We had to withdraw. Quite a number of our players were displaced. We weren't reaching them. We tried. They were not able to turn out for practice. They were not able to turn out for training. It was very, very difficult for them. I could name probably about seven players that we are still trying to find. Basically because they lost their homes, and then somebody might be gone to stay with somebody else in probably a neighboring community.
Janet Manning. Now, former national women's team captain Konya Plummer says she's fully focused on helping the national team secure qualification to a historic third straight FIFA World Cup appearance. Jamaica will bow into action on Saturday when they clash with Group B opponents Dominica at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Plummer is also relishing the opportunity to fight for her spot.
Honestly, I'm just happy to be a part of 2, and 3rd would be great for me and the team and Jamaica. And the feeling is just like we haven't achieved it yet, so the feeling is like, oh, there's much to do before that period, and my spot here is not guaranteed, so it also makes me have to keep putting in the work every day. Good, because growing up, my coach used to say complacency is the enemy of a good sportsman. When you do or whatever you do, there has to be a challenge.
The 28-year-old added that she's pleased to be part of a unit that has paved the way for the next generation of players for Jamaica. However, she feels the team is on a mission to complete a hat-trick of appearances at FIFA's Showpiece event.
Honestly, it makes me happy, and it's not just soccer players to look up to. It's like we have achieved so much with the Jamaica program. We have achieved so much, and for me, it was hard for me to vision it. But now we have paved that way. Now they can see it and they can experience it with us and know that I can do it and do more. So just to be a part of this group in this time, I'm just grateful and humble for this opportunity.
Konya Plummer. Now to cricket, as veteran cricket commentator Joseph West Pereira is calling on Dr. Kishore Shallow to do the honourable thing and resign as president of Cricket West Indies following his victory in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines general election on Thursday. Dr. Shallow, who secured the North Leeward seat for the New Democratic Party, NDP, now enters national political office, an outcome Pereira believes is incompatible with continuing to lead the regional cricket body, while acknowledging that the CWI Constitution does not expressly prohibit the president holding political office. Pereira says the spirit of good governance should guide Dr. Shallow's next steps.
President of the West Indies Board, Dr. Shallow,
is now a member of parliament in the new NDP government. Dr. Shala won the North Leeward seat by 560 votes and is expected to become a senior minister of this new St. Vincent and the Grenadines government headed by Goodwin Friday, the new Prime Minister. There is a question about conflict of interest, which was very much in the cards once he had won his seat, and he is expected to do the honorable thing of stepping down as president of the West Indies Board.
Joseph West Pereira, I'm Alex Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:30.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocho Rios to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 28 in Montego Bay.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
This is a public service announcement from JPS. JPS is urging customers not to pay anyone to have their electricity service reconnected. Customers are reminded that unauthorized reconnections can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury, electrocution, or damage to property. This practice is unethical, illegal, and could delay restoration efforts. If anyone claiming to represent JPS requests payment for reconnection services, report it immediately to the nearest police station or JPS. JPS thanks all customers for their patience as teams continue working to restore power safely and as quickly as possible. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Loan vibes, loan laughs, and loan entertainment. Come on the road with we. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in on the business. ladies. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. Don't forget to pick up my DJ. DJ Jerome, the shell boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the maddest, baddest, and latest tune. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
Welcome. It's another Friday evening with us on Nationwide 90 FM, and we are here with Nationwide at 5. And of course, I'm your host, Professor Donna Hope, and with me is my co-host.
Good evening, everyone. Those listening on the 90 FM band, and of course, our viewers on YouTube. I'm Tyrone Reed.
Good evening, Tyrone, and how are you keeping?
Good afternoon to you, Prof. Good to see you again. Not too shabby for a middle-aged guy. Trust you're well.
I am well enough, giving thanks and looking forward to a wonderful evening. We have a lot lined up for today, Tyrone, to share with our listeners and our YouTubers. And so I think for our cover story today, we're going to focus a little bit on what is happening again in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, with our telecoms giants who want some legislation to crack down on vandalism. And so telecoms giant Flow is calling for emergency legislation to crack down on the vandalism and theft of critical infrastructure during this period of disaster recovery. General Manager of Flow, Stephen Price, made the call as he updated Parliament's Infrastructure and Physical Development Committee earlier this week.
According to Mr. Price, the physical toll of Hurricane Melissa is being compounded, he says, by acts of vandalism and theft. He's urging legislators to step in. Theft and vandalism, listeners and viewers, have cost the telecommunications sector hundreds of millions of dollars.
CEO of Digital Jamaica, Stephen Murad, told the committee his company's restoration efforts are similarly being impacted by vandalism. Flow's head of legal and regulatory affairs, Charles Douglas, echoed Mr. Price's call for potential waivers to bring in critical equipment to speed up the restoration efforts. And opposition committee member Dennis Gordon queried how these requests for assistance would benefit the consumer.
Well, Mr. Price played up the importance of telecommunications in assisting the development of the country. But Mr. Douglas told the member that the waivers being requested are not frivolous, profit-seeking maneuvers. We're now being joined by CEO of Digital Jamaica, Stephen Murad, as well as General Manager of Flow Jamaica, Stephen Price. Gentlemen, top of the afternoon to you. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Stephen.
Hey, good evening, Stephen.
And gentlemen, as we are looking at the issues that your companies are both facing in this post-Melissa environment, I want to just throw out a question to both of you, Steve Murad and Stephen Price. What kind of legislative measures are you hoping that Parliament will introduce to assist in this issue?
I'll let Stephen go first. Sorry, no, that's probably going to be really confusing for the interview tonight.
Let's Stephen Price, yes.
Stephen Price, go ahead. I think for us, what we want to make sure is the current legislations are kind of stiffened or hardened. Right now, I would say to you, persons go in, they get very minimal fines, they get very minimal time in terms of what they serve once they go behind bars. And they do the cost-benefit analysis. They calculate that, they can pay this fine, they're back on the streets, they're doing the same thing again. So this is a slap on the wrist. So I think fundamentally from our perspective, we have to make sure that we levy some serious fines and levy some serious jail time in order to make sure that these things are prohibitive. I think from the perspective that we see it as a country, for our overall development in terms of the utilities of this country to maintain, we're looking at so much of our GDP that's being eroded right now. In order for you to have that, you're going to need power, you're going to need telecoms, you're going to need water, you're going to need the critical infrastructure of the country protected. It's almost as if you're really attacking the state, and especially in a time like this, when we are trying to make sure that the humanitarian needs of those in the West are protected. And we're trying to make sure that the people of Jamaica can get back to work and get back to productivity. This is not the time for this. This is an actual attack against the state, literally.
Thank you so much, Stephen Price. And from Digital, Stephen Murad, what is your own expectation of Parliament?
I think Stephen's, made it very clear, because this is not a new conundrum. This has been around for years. Obviously, I've chatted to Stephen about this for years, and this isn't something that's just appeared. I think, if you hear the frustration in Stephen's voice, will be, just as apparent in mine, because we get all of this every single day of the year outside of the hurricane belt. And obviously our colleagues in JPS, and you'll have seen the brand new electricity pole that was put in the ground, which clearly then was sawed with some sort of heavy duty machinery in half, and where services restored were taken down again. So the frustration at this point in time, when we see, I think, I read this morning that the death tolls up to 45, 16 people missing, hundreds of thousands of people have had their homes damaged. And the one thing that they actually are looking for me and Stephen to do, quite simply, is to provide the simple communication tools that we have been doing for decades. And to enable us to do that, we need the infrastructure. So we will restore people. Both businesses are running 100 miles an hour, 30 days and counting, no day off, 24/7 to restore services to people. And when we go and restore services, to then have them taken down again through mindless acts of, and let's face it, it's a minority. It's not the majority of the population. It's a mindless minority of the population who determine they're either going to take it, cut it, to use it for something else, profit or cash, or just sheer act of mindless vandalism. And I think that's the frustration that we feel on behalf of our customers every single day, to say, Stephen, the service we were restored, thank you very much, and then 2 minutes later they're back down again, and quite rightly so, they questioned us to say, what are you doing? Why can't you restore the services when you said you were going to do? And that, in essence, is, we're both businesses that provide a service which is paid for by the customer, and we want to, every minute of the day, clearly provide those services. So definitely stiffer punishment. We also society plays a huge part in societal change of influencing, because let's face it, both businesses, survive and thrive on the fact that the telecoms industry changed probably 20, 30 years ago, and smartphones came into fruition. It became people's livelihoods. And now, anybody, not just not traditional businesses, but we're all utilizing the telecoms industry to not just communicate around the world, but to make money. And we want to make sure the economy works as well. Stephen touched on the impact on the GDP. I read, somewhere around 8 billion or more. That is unreal to think about, and we're thinking about every minute a day, how do we get the economy going? The best thing that me and Stephen can do is get the communications up and get them working as quickly as possible. So I'm all for pushing hard on making sure that the punishment fits the crime. I do want to stress it's a mindless minority. It's not the general population. That would be unfair for either of us to say that, but it is definitely the minority, and the minority, unfortunately, can hinder the economy in the most blunt, severe manner.
Stephen Murad, Stephen Price, we're almost up on the break, but I'd like to switch gears a bit and talk about policing and private security. In your years of having to deal with this, Stephen Price, beginning with you, how has the policing around this matter been? Have we been able to successfully locate and prosecute the people who've been at the leading this theft and vandalism that we hear about so frequently? Have we? How is the policing around?
I think the policing has gotten better. I think for us, we have a number of cases before the courts right now, but the wheels of justice, they turn at a particular pace, and even in the hurricane season here, obviously there are many cases that are put off to next year in terms of being there. But we have been getting convictions. The challenge is the convictions are not enough. The Larceny Act does not impose a heavier set of sentencing. We need steeper fines. I think where you have theft of infrastructure that is $1 million or more Jamaican dollars, it needs to probably be elevated to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, which can impose those greater kind of sentences in the moving forward, right? And the greater kind of fines to them. Because many of these, as we found over time, are repeat offenders, tied to various scrap metal industries, tied to theft of fuel. I mean, even in the height of this hurricane, persons were stealing diesel from both Digicel as well as ourselves. We continue to get cuts and hits. Batteries, which are needed to keep power up for cell sites, are being stolen even right now. So it's quite a difficult situation to maintain the energy that we need to keep these sites going if these things continue to happen, especially at this time.
Gentlemen, we're up on the break, so could we take the break and come right back, Tyrone, and stay with us? We'll be right back.
MSME operators, the NWC MSME Amnesty is a lifeline. Grab it. Apply between September 1 and November 30, 2025. Visit nwcjamaica.com. Email us at customercare@nwc.com.jm. You can also visit any commercial office or dial 888-NWC. Get a 50% debt write-off on your small commercial account if you pay all other outstanding debts or sign a payment agreement to do so in 3 months. Apply today.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackhammer, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. 3 parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61114. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Welcome back. Thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us here live inside and nationwide at 5. Of course, the station is Nationwide 90 FM. She's the affable and erudite Professor Donna Hope, and I'm the lowly Tyrone Reed. We have with us representatives, the bosses of the telecoms giants in Jamaica, Stephen Mirad representing Digicel Jamaica, and of course, the other Stephen Price, General Manager representing Flow Jamaica. Gentlemen, before the break, we've been talking about the need for, or the call, and I don't think this is the first time we're hearing this call, for legislation to crack down on vandalism that is affecting the telecom sector, and it is particularly egregious given the fact that we are trying to recover from the impact of a Cat 5 hurricane. We spoke about policing. The policing has improved, says Stephen Price. But Stephen Mirad, what about the Jamaican looking on and saying, look, even if we pass the legislation, we need some preventative measures. How about the telecoms investing more in private security? So there's a policing side and there's a private security side. How would you, gentlemen, respond to a weary Jamaican who might be looking on and saying, this is something that your private security should deter?
Well, there's about 300,000 kilometers of cable across the island, right? It would take a force of probably about 5 to 6 times the JCF right now in order to police and guard and secure that. And passing on those costs to the consumer just is impractical, right? I think for us, we believe that we are law-abiding citizens. We're a law-abiding business, paying our taxes every way to the state, etc., in terms of how we protect ourselves. We do have our own security apparatus in terms of cameras, various things that we can't speak about on the air because obviously we have to keep them quite secret in terms of the security apparatus that we are deploying. But the fact is, we're doing so much on an annualized basis. If I tell you, we lose somewhere in the region about, well, I know I can't speak for myself. I lose about $2 million per year in terms of equipment. Over the past 5 years, it's about $10 million in probably revenue I have probably lost just because of vandalism and theft. That may be the same thing on digital side. So it's really, really tough from that perspective. And it's the balancing act for a small and developing state like ourselves. How do we give our people affordable broadband and internet and mobile at the cost that they can afford for the strength of wallet and the GDP per capita that we have? If we have to pass on these costs, it would be not affordable at all and wouldn't even bring us anywhere closer to our Vision 2030 needs.
What do the numbers look like? No, go ahead, Prof.
No. As Stephen Murad can tell us on his end, what do the numbers look like? And then I'd like to just pose a particular question to both gentlemen. Please go ahead, Stephen Murad, you're back.
Thanks. A note is similar to the message that Stephen gave, but I'd like to add a couple of other pieces, because yes, there's a cost of replacing that equipment, which clearly we then go ahead and replace, no questions asked, because we don't have a business unless we've got the equipment to run the network. That is the simple fact. But there's also the cost of the consumer, so I reiterate again, the cost of business and the economy running relies on both our networks working every single minute of the day. And every single minute of downtime that happens as a consequence of this is money lost in the consumer's pockets as well, because they obviously want to pay and buy these services. But if they can't do that, if they can't make any money, so it's a bit of a difficult position. And let's face it, both of these companies are not security companies. We're telecommunications and fixed broadband and ICT solution companies. We're not security companies, but we find that we have to pay money for the support that we need from either, from the large security firms that we have in Jamaica, or we take our own methods, which Stephen rightly said we don't need to go into on this call, because we need to find ways to prevent these things happening in the first place. So the cost is probably even more unknown. Apart from, we could tell you what the ticket price is for us, but the cost to the consumer is phenomenal. And then the economy cost as well. We don't want any downtime at all whatsoever.
Stephen Price, Stephen Murad, Digicel and Flow, how widespread are these, these moments, these instances of vandalism and theft? Because it sounds as if $2 million in terms of, what is lost, $5 million in terms of revenue, US dollars we're speaking. How widespread are these incidences of vandalism and theft in Jamaica?
I think over the past years, they've been significant. I mean, particular hotspots have been St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Not too bad out far west. And obviously there's significant damage out there right now at this present point in time. But those are particular hotspots. Those are the spots that we've tried to put the kind of apparatus around in order to make sure that we protect ourselves. But when you have a poor situation in terms of in excess of 30% of the customers of the country have no power out west, and we're dependent on the cell sites to stay up and be powered, and we fuel them today, this morning, and within 5 minutes to an hour, somebody drains that generator of diesel, that site goes down. And these people in these vulnerable communities where humanitarian aid is needed, that we're trying to get up service right across the country, it is impractical because you're not able to navigate and carry out the business of the country in terms of the survival needs of these residents and citizens. So, I mean, we call on the public to help us. There are numbers that we have. They call our call center, they call Digicel's call center. Report anything that you see strange at any one of our sites, any of the places, any of our cables, etc. People without IDs, just report it. We'll take action.
Gentlemen, they call for, improvements in the legislation to act as a deterrent. Can I get some specifics, Stephen Murad? How What kind of increase are we looking at in terms of sentencing that you think would serve as a deterrent?
I think that will be an impossible question for me to answer. I'm not an expert in law or what society deterrents are. I'm a much more simple human being, like Stephen. We're calling out on the country, the government, the legislators to do exactly what they should be doing. They're the experts in what are the punishments that are fit. Obviously, you've got Commissioner Blake's team. Their job is to catch and apprehend and hand them over to the justice system. So, we call on the justice system who are the experts in this. Stephen, they're not the experts in what length of sentence that should be put forward.
Reasonable response, Mr. Miller. What about you, Stephen Price? Do you share or do you have something in mind?
I think from our perspective, we just need stiffer sentence. If you think about what happens under the Malicious Injuries to Property Act, right? It's terms of not in excess of 2 years. I know recently in the Law Reform Amendment of Penalties Act in 2019, it was moved to $250,000. But trust me, when somebody steals about a kilometer or so of copper from me, it easily pays for itself. If you understand what I'm saying.
And he makes and with a profit behind it.
With a profit and yes. No more than 3 months behind bars. He's back on the street doing this again. You understand what I mean? So I think the key thing that we're saying is let's get some stiffer penalties into the space, very steep fines, and we have to look at it as the country's infrastructure. But it's not just the telecom stuff. It's as you can see, the JPS incident that happened the other night. That brought us down too because we were on those poles as well. You understand what I'm saying?
It should rightly consider the impact on national development. It's a reasonable argument to make.
Yeah, that is it. I mean, and you're stopping government. You're stopping the resources of the state. The customers can't call police. Can't call an ambulance, can't call the fire service. These are the things that these things cause, and the outcomes of this. And people complain that their house has burnt down and the fire station hasn't responded because they're not able to reach the fire station. So it's these things that we have to make sure that we protect against and treat with the highest level of seriousness in terms of sentencing and fines.
Gentlemen, with the focus on sentencing and fines being, increased or upgraded, I think what I'm hearing also is that some public education or otherwise, the public should be brought into the mix because they are also the ones who are going to suffer at the expense of not having adequate telecommunications infrastructure in place when they need it, even if they do not see themselves as being directly affected at the moment of vandalism or theft. So we probably need to also have some additional impetus pushed into the mix to suggest to the public, encourage the public to, one, discourage, reduce, avoid. And also, I think that without a market for these goods, there's a big market for the cable, a big market for the batteries, market for the diesel. So there's that kind of connection between the theft, vandalism, and the market that supplies the money to buy what is stolen. Something also needs to be put in place because that would help to reduce what these incidents are doing right now.
I would definitely agree with you from that perspective. A sale can't happen if there's not a receiver, right? I think it will be necessary. But Professor Hope, I think we have had this conversation, Stephen and I have had this conversation at least 7 times a year on a radio station somewhere in Jamaica. We have put it out in our socials. We have, and this has been going on for as long as I can remember. This is an extreme situation now, right? This is after a Category 5 event, an event that has laid destruction bare right across the length and breadth of the country. We need to act now. We need to make sure that we protect the growth and development and restoration of this country back to where it needs to be. And if we don't move now, it will hurt us even further.
Before we go, gentlemen, Flow's head of legal and regulatory affairs, Charles Douglas, mentioned the need for waivers to speed up restoration. What kind of equipment or or are you trying to bring in, or whatever it is that you are trying to get done? And how would these waivers directly accelerate restoration efforts on the ground? And of course, there are people who believe these waivers benefit companies more than they do customers. So how do you respond to that? Beginning with you, Stephen Murat.
Stephen, can go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I know obviously Stephen and Charles would have touched on it, but for us it's just about making sure that we have the right equipment on island ready to restore after a catastrophic event. So we would have prepared a lot of materials on island and in our hubs as well. So we have a lot of material on island. I don't technically need to bring anything else in at this point beyond what we've already ordered. So we're already bringing all of the materials in. But I think, ultimately the piece that Charles would have touched on is all about speed. This isn't about, I don't want to speak for Stephen and Charles, but I want to stress that this is about speed. How do we get ourselves back up as a country quicker than we have ever done before? We got hit very hard last year, and this year it is, a lot harder. So it needs a lot more restoration, and it needs a lot more speed. So invariably the speed of bringing in equipment, we just put the waivers thing to one side for the moment. The speed of bringing in equipment and getting the infrastructure back up and running is the most important thing, and I can't stress that enough. The job that the public want from me and Stephen is to restore the communications yesterday. That's really all they're interested in. And our job as businesses is to enable our teams to do that as quickly as possible. And that's the most important thing to me. That's the thing that keeps me awake at night, is how quickly can I restore services to where they were, just over a month ago.
And we're out of time. We're out of time, gentlemen. Stephen Price, 30 seconds.
No, it's the same on that. I think it's about speed. It's about being able to get things back in position. Just remember, at the advent of COVID, we were somewhere around 350,000 homes. We've just built and spent over the past 4 or 5 years to double that number to 770. In terms of sites, we just rebuilt a lot of sites coming out of Beryl. So it was just to really get us going really, really quickly, get these things on the ground, get these equipment on the ground. We're all fighting for the same contractors out there in the country. So all the costs that are coming in now, we have to be importing actual talent, skill sets, trucks, these things as well, to make sure we go as fast as possible. I know we want a Merry Christmas, and I know many customers want their services back by Christmas and by February, along with the GPS timelines, and that's what we're trying to work to do.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. You just heard there from Stephen Price and, of course, Stephen Murad from Digicel and Flow. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your time and the thoughts.
Thanks, Phil. Have a great evening, great weekend.
This has been the cover story. The headlines are next.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Men afraid of nobody. That's the retort from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness as he voiced his intention to go to war with those spreading misinformation and disinformation about the government's response to the damage in Western Jamaica caused by Hurricane Melissa.
It is not just managing the disaster, it is managing the false information. And we have to go to war with that. Too much false information, distracting the people when we need to have a positive mindset for recovery. And it is one thing that you will see about me. Me not afraid of nobody. All who want to make me one. Me we go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. And as you would have seen with the government, man come out with foolishness, we respond, not go so. And as many memes as they can make, I can make it too. So it's going to be war, because we cannot allow people who peddle nonsense, the people who tell lies, we cannot allow them to win. So we will have it out.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the grand opening of the Little London Police Station in Westmoreland on Friday. Dr. Holness says he's disgusted by attempts to politicize the distribution of relief packages.
We are going to transition from giving out of packages because it's becoming highly political. Who never get, and if you go to a man's place and then him say, oh, you never call me to go give package with you. You know, the funny thing is this, the amount of JLP people who call me to say, PMP, MPs get package and don't come to them. And I said, look, I don't want a political issue. Don't bother make no noise over that. It is disgusting that persons would want to make political issues over the distribution of aid. We have to bring an end to it then, because some people can't help themselves. They can't resist it. And so we are going to shift from the distribution of food packages to giving persons coupons or cards that they can go and buy the stuff that they need.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister says he anticipates that some people will find a reason to criticize him for opening a police station in Little London amid the problems being experienced by so many elsewhere in Westmoreland.
I know that there are the constant naysayers, the nitpickers, those people who will find the iota of negativity in a world of positive to say, why am I opening up a police station when right around and close by there are persons without roofs? I should have taken the money we used to fix this new police station and fix all the roofs. So for those who will want to criticize the opening of a police station in the midst of a disaster recovery process, this police station was conceptualized in 2017. This police station, it's more than just an investment in security.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Member of Parliament for South St. James, Nikisha Burchell, says residents in her constituency are in need of clothing as they look to reset their lives following the damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. She was speaking earlier today on the second leg of Nationwide's Rebuilding Jamaica tour in St. James.
Clothing, including underwear, is still a need here. And I'm begging you, we are in need, but we're asking you to treat us with some dignity. Ensure that what you send to us are new, especially undergarments. But if you are sending us clothing that has been worn, make sure it is something that you would still wear yourself. Mm-hmm. It is of good quality and good condition. Launder them if you must. Clothes is an urgent need.
MP Burchell says there is a need for seedlings among the farmers in her constituency who are keen to replant their fields.
You're here today, the line is long out to the gate and it's gonna get longer. So food is still a daily need. So yes, people will come in and donate bags of food that can last for a family 2 days or so. But the next 2 days, they need another bag. But I know this is not a sustainable project. So we're trying to see how we can get back to producing for ourselves. We're farmers. So we want the seeds, the seedlings and the planting materials. We want the yam head, we want the planting sucker, we want the potato slip, we want the banana sucker, we want the lettuce and the pop chow seed, so that hopefully by spring we can have some of our own things.
Nikisha Burchell, Member of Parliament for South St. James. Mayor of Maypen, Joel Williams, says the northern belt of Clarendon is still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa 1 month later. He was speaking at a Hurricane Melissa Recovery Forum hosted by Serenity Resource Connector on Thursday.
Unfortunately, there are many Clarendonians who are journeying all the way down to the west, not knowing fully well that their own backyard is devastated. There are 13 to 14 communities in the parish of Clarendon that have been badly hit. In the northern belt of Frankfield, Victoria, Bloomwell, Sunbury, Crofts Hill, Union Town, all of those areas have been badly hit by this Hurricane Melissa. A lot of people believe that because nothing happened on the plane, Mitchelltown, Rocky Point and those areas, that we went unscathed and there was no impact. That is not so.
Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Merry, merry moments with Mitsubishi. You're rolling with we are easy breezy. For the Christmas, you know you're rolling in style. Merry moments with Mitsubishi. Merry moments, buy a sport Outlander, we cruising. Win cool gifts with the vehicle you're choosing. Eclipse Cross with the family you're moving. Merry, merry moments with Mitsubishi. Outlander sport key and a Christmas tree. Grand prize win a staycation for 2. Merry, merry moments with Mitsubishi.
Conditions apply. Good evening with your sports report. I am Alwix Raby. We kick things off with some football as defending champions Kingston College returned to action in the round of 16 of the Issa Manning Cup schoolboy football competition with a 3-0 win over Campion College at Jamaica College on Friday. Meanwhile, Woomers beat Tivoli Gardens 2-0. Calabar and Hydel drew 1-1, and at sports time, Vauxhall were leading St. George's College 3-1, Eltham High lead Mona 1-0, and the games between Stats and Excelsior and JC and St. Jago were locked up 0-0. In the Costa Cup action, title holders Garvey Masia were leading Magati 3-2. Now, Nikisha Burchell, Member of Parliament for South St. James, has weighed in on the withdrawal of Maldon High School from the Issa Da Costa Cup schoolboy football competition. Maldon qualified for the round of 16 for the first time in their history, but was forced to pull out of the competition following damage done to players' houses and personal belongings. Coach Dylan Telwell told the Nationwide Sports this week that only a maximum of 4 players turned up for training since it was announced that there would be a restart to the competition. Burchell, in whose constituency Maldon is located, says she's disappointed the school had to withdraw.
Sadly, we lost the D Cup team from Maldon High because they had advanced so far in the competition. But since Hurricane Melissa, people have been displaced, and so they haven't been able to pull their team together to complete their run in this tournament. And that's a heartbreak for us. But Hurricane Melissa is affecting us in every way possible.
Nikisha Burchell, Maldon's principal, Janet Manning, says they are still trying to locate some members of the team.
We had to withdraw. Quite a number of our players were displaced. We weren't reaching them. We tried. They were not able to turn out for practice. They were not able to turn out for training. It was very, very difficult for them. I could name probably about seven players that we are still trying to find. Basically because they lost their homes, and then somebody might be gone to stay with somebody else in probably a neighboring community.
Janet Manning. The former national women's team captain Konya Plummer says she's fully focused on helping the national team secure qualification to a historic 3rd straight FIFA World Cup appearance. Jamaica will bow into action on Saturday when they clash with Group B opponents Dominica at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Plummer is also relishing the opportunity to fight for her spot.
Honestly, I'm just happy to be a part of 2, and 3rd would be great for me and the team and Jamaica. And the feeling is just like we haven't achieved it yet, so the feeling is like, oh, there's much to do before that period, and my spot here is not guaranteed, so it also makes me have to keep putting in the work every day. Good, because growing up, my coach used to say complacency is the enemy of a good sportsman. Anything you do or whatever you do, there has to be a challenge.
The 28-year-old added that she's pleased to be part of a unit that has paved the way for the next generation of players for Jamaica. However, she feels the team is on a mission to complete a hat-trick of appearances at FIFA's Showpiece event.
Honestly, it makes me happy, and it's not just soccer players to look up to. It's like we have achieved so much with the Jamaica program. We have achieved so much, and for me, it was hard for me to vision it. But now we have paved that way. Now they can see it and they can experience it with us and know that I can do it and do more. So just to be a part of this group in this time, I'm just grateful and humble for this opportunity.
Kanya Plummer. Both Sunderland and Bournemouth are currently locked on 19 points in the English Premier League. When the pair meets tomorrow at Sunderland Stadium of Light, the home team will be taking aim at their first win in 3 games, while opponents Bournemouth will also be seeking their first victory in as many games. Regis Lebris, head coach of Sunderland, stated that he's still tinkering with what format works best for his team.
The 5-4-1, 3-4-3 is not always efficient to press, so we tended to drop a bit, but when we were high up the pitch, we went in man for man. So in man for man, we don't have a specific structure. So the last games it worked well. We might use a 4-4-2 once again because I think now we are flexible.
According to Andonai Irola, man in charge of Bournemouth, he's hopeful that forward Antonite Semenyo is back to full fitness.
I hope so. We still have to train today, but has been doing modified training with the team the previous days. So if everything goes well today also, I think he's going to be available for tomorrow, yes.
Now to cricket, as veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira is calling on Dr. Kishore Shallow to do the honourable thing and resign as president of Cricket West Indies, following his victory in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines general elections on Thursday. Dr. Shallow, who secured the North Leeward seat for the New Democratic Party, NDP, now enters national political office, an outcome Pereira believes is incompatible with continuing to lead the regional cricket body. While acknowledging that the CWI Constitution does not expressly prohibit the president holding political office, Pereira says the spirit of good governance should guide Dr. Shallow's next steps.
President of the West Indies Board, Dr. Shallow, is now a member of parliament in the new NDP government. Dr. Shallow won the North Leeward seat by 560 votes and is expected to become a senior minister of this new St. Vincent and the Grenadines government headed by Goodwin Friday, the new Prime Minister. There is a question about conflict of interest, which was very much in the cards once he had won his seat, and he is expected to do the honourable thing of stepping down as president of the West Indies Board.
Pereira added that the CWI vice president would be expected to assume the acting presidency should Dr. Shallow vacate the post.
As ambassador, as the vice president, will become the acting president until an election is called on the West Indies Board. Whether Dr. Shallow will in fact call a meeting of the board to say goodbye, to announce his retirement, or he might do that by announcing it in St. Vincent, we just have to wait and see.
He's also used the moment to underscore his belief that West Indies cricket is ready for generational transition at the highest administrative level.
There is, of course, a need for the Windwards Board now to have their own elections, because Dr. Shallow stepping down will also mean stepping down from the Windwards Board. So, interesting times. Who will emerge the possible candidate? The general feeling is it should be someone of a younger age, respected, and have the kind of experience, both as a former player and as a businessman, to lead a new West Indies Board.
Joseph West Pereira. Dr. Shallow has not yet commented publicly on whether he intends to continue in the role following his political victory. The 2025 Regional Super 50 Cup competition will come to a climax on Saturday with the grand finale at the Brian Lara Stadium in Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinidad and Tobago Red Force will face the Barbados Pride for the top prize starting at 1 p.m. Jamaica time. The Pride reached last season's final, which ended controversially after both captains Raymond Reefer and John Campbell refused to participate in the coin toss in the rain-affected match. Campbell was initially suspended for 4 games after being hit with a level 3 charge related to his conduct. The suspension was later withdrawn. Now to swimming, as the Aquatic Sports Association of Jamaica has moved to clear the air following recent reports about reimbursement owed to its president, Lance Rochester. In a statement today, the ASAJ said its council ordered a detailed review of last month to ensure all claims met the body's financial governance standards. Oreen Buchanan tells us more.
At a meeting on November 5, the Council unanimously endorsed the Finance Committee's recommendation to reimburse Rochester for expenses he incurred while representing Jamaica internationally in 2024 and 2025. The committee found that all submitted expenses were legitimate and properly documented. The ASAJ also confirmed that funds personally paid by Rochester to the water polo coach between 2023 and 2025 will be repaid in full except for 1 month in 2023 when the association had earlier been advised that no World Aquatics funding would be available. As of November 26, all approved reimbursements have been paid. The association acknowledged delays in the process, saying they created uncertainty and affected both Rochester and the Federation's public image. It has pledged stronger financial accountability and is now reviewing its internal procedures to speed up future reimbursements. The ASAJ concluded by expressing full confidence in President Rochester's leadership and says it is ready to refocus on the continued growth of aquatic sports in Jamaica. Oreen Buchanan, reporting for Nationwide Sports.
And finally, President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, says India will need to be bold and innovative as it prepares to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. His comments followed the confirmation of the Indian city of Ahmedabad as the host for the centenary edition of the Games. Ahmedabad, located in the west of the world's most populous country, was officially ratified on Wednesday after being recommended last month ahead of rival bidder Abuja, Nigeria. City officials have vowed to lay the foundation for the next 100 years as they prepare for only the second Commonwealth Games to be staged in India. Organizers have indicated that 15 to 17 sports will be included. Athletics, swimming, table tennis, bowls, and weightlifting, along with their para-sports equivalents, are already locked in. They'll be joined by artistic gymnastics, netball, and boxing. The remaining events, which may include archery, badminton, 3-on-3 basketball, beach volleyball, T20 cricket, cycling, diving, hockey, judo, rhythmic gymnastics, rugby sevens, shooting, squash, triathlon, and wrestling, will be finalized starting in December. Samuda says cricket will be essential to generating revenue for the Games, noting the sport's enormous global and commercial appeal.
Innovation has to be the order of the day for India, and I suspect that the broadcasting rights to cricket will be central to revenue generation to pay some bills, as well as esports and emerging sports that have capital and the markets behind them. Redefining, re-engineering the games beyond historic ties and nostalgia will be critical in responding to competition, fan engagement, and the evolving, eclectic, post-millennium tastes of sportsmen and sportswomen and of the games itself.
And he adds that he has no doubt India will deliver, given its scale, sporting culture, and proven ability to host major international events.
The Games are competing with other formidable contenders, other formidable games of similar ilk, competing for generational appeal and relevance, competing for the international sponsorship dollar, and competing for media and broadcast interests. And all of this competition is taking place amidst growing financial demands of athletes and a somewhat unstable global economy.
Christopher Samuda, I'm Alex Raby, and that's your sports.
For all your
your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612 to 5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:23.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GeoLand Title Limited is the place to be. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates, first-time registration, land surveys included, affordable rates and flexible payment options, National Land Agency adjudication and land titling waivers available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. GeoLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the Public Opinion. In today's Public Opinion, we're asking you, it's a frivolous question. It's a Friday, and we're trying to, you laugh a pea soup. Speaking of soup, would you be upset to receive soup for dinner on a Sunday? Yep, that's our Public Opinion this evening, and we want to hear from you, our valued viewers, our lovely viewers. We want to hear from you, especially those of you in the YouTube chat, so feel free, like I said before, to comment in the comments section. Would you be upset to receive soup for dinner on a Sunday? I'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform, where Kaylee is saying, listen to me carefully, soup on Sunday, tin mackerel for Christmas dinner, what's the difference? Everything going one place. The worms know any, she's questioning if the worms know any different. All right. George Elliott is saying, no problem whatsoever. Some soup, for example, green gongo soup, are much better than the boring rice and peas and chicken. You have a point, because sometimes you're tired to eat the rice and peas and chicken and you want a little soup. All right. Christopher Isaacs is saying, even though soup is my favorite dish, that's not on a Sunday, unless I'd bite my tongue and broke my dentures. It's not this. Philip Jackson is saying, soup is my middle name. Any day, soup of the week, bring on the soup. Yeah? Audrey Allen is saying, no way, Jose. No soup for dinner on a Sunday. You bless that and devour it. Not a rice and peas tastes good, so. Okay. Patricia O'Connor Garrison is saying, no problem. Sometimes I cook red peas with pigtail. That may I talk about now. Nina Simone is saying, none at all. I'm a soup lover. All I would do is bless it and enjoy. So no way, Jose. She wouldn't be upset. Rosalind Buck says, you can have anything for dinner any day of the week. The end. KK Reed says, bless it and drink it. Some people have not even little soup. In everything, we should give thanks. Yeah? Paul Johnson says, well, if the moment requires soup, then soup it is. Campbell Albert saying, whatever the Lord has blessed us with, As for me and my house, we will give thanks. Same way so. Mervyn Campbell is saying, I drink a lot of that on Sundays. I don't know if I would receive that from anyone. Yeah. Cheryl says she wouldn't be upset. She wouldn't be upset at all. 7 days a week. She wants soup. Karine says she even eats flour and butter on a Sunday for dinner. People eat what they can afford. Some not even have flour or butter. And she's saying if she was watching what to eat on a Sunday, she would never have her own place. So she's saying anything can eat on any day. Marcia Winter is saying soup is my first, second, and last name. There is something special about soup, especially red pea soup with chicken foot. What food nicer than that? Okay, Robert Ranger says no, days of the week doesn't determine my taste buds. Crystal is saying I love soup, so nope, she wouldn't be upset. Nicola says, this is running very contrary to the comments of my colleagues, some of my colleagues in the newsroom, i.e. George Davis. George Davis said him nah drink no soup on a Sunday. Him a go turn over a pot. George Davis, I'm calling you out. The comment section is not in your favor, sir. Would you be upset to receive soup for dinner on a Sunday? That's our public opinion question, and we're gonna go to our YouTubers. Yeah, red pea soup with pigtail for me, says Marigold. Diana is saying she would drink soup 7 days per week. Competent Corrine is saying if I cook soup on Saturday and don't feel like cooking on a Sunday, sure. Yeah. I am winning right now, says upset. No, sir. Soup any day. Browning is saying soup. No soup on a Sunday. Finally, somebody says no soup on a Sunday. Let me see. Purpose Simpson says not at all. Wouldn't be upset. I'd eat soup any day, every day. I will. Let me see if I can get in a few more comments on this. Carlene Smith said it sounds like a question for men. Yeah? If you're coming in and see soup in the pot on a Sunday, yeah? George says it's appetizer, so there must be something more that's coming. 007 is saying, sometimes I don't even remember which day is Sunday, and had it not been for church, so not a thing wrong with it. Yeah? Let me see. Jean Sutherland is saying soup all day, every day, chicken soup. Javane Blake is saying, yes, my father done it to me on a Sunday. I was upset. Yeah? I was upset. Carlene Heslop says, not a problem because I love soup and I cook anything I want. Dreview says, nope. Wouldn't be upset. It's the same protein like rice and peas and chicken. Yeah? Who am I says soup on Sunday growing up is like holy water pan vampire. Well, we Jamaicans, we have it to say, and maybe across the world as well, we have it to say soup is a dish for Saturday. Saturday, yeah. Let me see. Fax is saying, I think the change from the traditional Saturday would be good if it's even for one day. Ainsley is saying soup any day, all 3 times a day. I had 2 bowls today. Would you look at that? Yeah? Would you look at that? Let me see if I can get in a few more. Being biased in reading the comments. No, DJ Perry, you see, you guys don't understand how this comment section going on. The comments are coming in and moving rapidly, so my eyes only can operate at a certain level. But let's get on to the comments. Let me see. Travel with Foster says it depends on what type of soup. If it's chicken foot is a no. Red pea soup, definitely. Jacqueline is saying rice and peas on Sunday is just tradition. Peter Gay says very, very upset. I would have very upset if somebody give me soup on a Sunday. Desnem says it's not my first choice, but I'll be satisfied regardless. Sharon Bless is saying I cook soup on Sunday a lot of time for my dinner. Pigtail, chicken foot, cow skin, stew, beef, and a lot of peas. I love soup bad. Yeah? And Robert is saying, still food. Yeah? McHugh saying soup for Saturday and then when you're sick, not Sunday. What you're not saying? What are you not saying? Let me see. Soup any day, says Howard. Soup any day of the week. My belly don't know the difference between rice and peas and soup. Okay. All right. Michael Clark says soup any day. Love it. Yeah. Alex said, give me some good cow skin soup with red peas. Jesus wept. Robbie, please tell George to hold up on Alice soup. Wow. Alec. Yeah? Wow. Some people just love soup and they don't care. They don't care which day of the week it is. Yeah? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't matter. Soup. Soup. Pressure. Cow skin and beef soup, says David. It's a Friday, guys. If you're going out on the road, we implore you to be safe. Yeah? Take care of yourself and take care of those. If you're driving, motorists, for those of you who are driving, do so responsibly. A lot of fatalities so far on the nation's roads. We implore you to just drive safe, right? And if you're drinking, get a designated driver. No more fatalities. One more month. Yeah, we have 1 more month to go in the 2025. Yeah. So what good? Until then, the business report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. There are warnings flights could be cancelled or delayed after Airbus requested immediate modifications to thousands of planes over its discovery that intense radiation from the sun could corrupt data crucial to flight controls. About 6,000 planes are thought to be affected, about half the European aerospace giant's global fleet, but it is understood most will be able to undergo a simple software update. Now, the UK's aviation regulator said carrying out the updates would likely cause some disruption and cancellations to flights. Airbus said the problem was discovered following a recent incident in the US involving an A320 family aircraft and apologized for disruption to passengers. The incident, which happened on October 30, involved a JetBlue Airways craft making an emergency landing in Florida after a sudden drop in altitude. At least 15 people were reported to have been injured. In the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 20 cents to buy $1 US, 214 Jamaican dollars and 5 cents to buy £1 British, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 7 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. Well, that's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
But at an old time something. That's where I save my money in the bank. And because I want to buy a little house, I also save in a building society. We have to be smart with how we save our money.
So what if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in. Make I tell you something. With the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you save your money in a commercial bank, merchant bank, or building society, your deposit is covered up to a maximum of $1.2 million per depositor per financial institution if the institution fails. All the information that you need is available at jdic.org, and you can follow their social media platform for more information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Help you take a better route. Become a mentor in the Ministry of Justice Child Diversion Program. To become a mentor, you must be a Jamaican citizen over 18 years old, literate, with at least a secondary level education, have at least 1 year working experience, be willing to volunteer for at least 1 year, and be non-partisan, confidential, and a person of integrity. Download the application form at moj.gov.jm and submit to any child diversion office island-wide. For more details, call the ministry at 888-JUSTICE. That is 888-587-8423. Help a youth take a better route. Join the Child Diversion Mentorship Program today.
This is a public service announcement from JPS.
JPS is urging customers not to pay anyone to have their electricity service reconnected. Customers are reminded that unauthorized reconnections can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury, electrocution, or damage to property. This practice is unethical, illegal, and could delay restoration efforts. If anyone claiming to represent JPS requests payment for reconnection services, report it immediately to the nearest police station or JPS. JPS thanks all customers for their patience as teams continue working to restore power safely and as quickly as possible. That was a public service announcement from JPS.
This is Deposit Insurance in a Minute. Under the JDIC, business accounts are insured separately from the owner's personal accounts up to 1.2 million.
Hold on there. So my little shop money and my little savings money insured separately?
As long as your savings and business accounts are in a bank or building society.
Well, that's not bad.
To learn more about how deposit insurance works, visit the JDIC website at www.jdic.org or follow on Facebook, Instagram, and X at JDIC Jam.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. I've no house, I've nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need desperate help.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation. Unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Give us strength. Oh, never let I fail.
Welcome back. Top of the evening to you. This is Nationwide at 5. We're inside the nation's business. I'm Tyrone Reed.
And I'm Professor Donna Hope.
And we are back, Prof, and we want to segue into another discussion looking at the country heading into a recession after the impact of Hurricane Melissa. Now, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, that's the PIOJ, says it's projecting that the country will go into recession as a result of the economic shock from Hurricane Melissa. And quite frankly, that was to be expected given the extent of the damage of the Category 5 hurricane. Now, the PIOJ Director General, that's Dr. Wayne Henry, gave the grim assessment during a quarterly media briefing on Tuesday.
Indeed, and the PIOJ says the unprecedented destruction caused by Hurricane Melissa is likely to put an end to the recent growth trajectory the country has been on. The projection comes amid news that the economy had continued its upward trajectory during the July to September quarter of this year. In fact, Dr. Henry says the country's GDP expanded by 4.6% during the quarter immediately before the hurricane struck the island.
Wow, 4.6%.
Yes.
This is compared to the corresponding period for 2024. For the first 9 months of 2025, the country's GDP grew by 2.4%. Now Jamaica faces the prospect that Hurricane Melissa has laid waste to all that economic progress and effort. In the meantime, the PIOJ is also projecting that it may take as many as 5 years for the economy to recover fully from the damage wreaked by Hurricane Melissa. To get reactions, we're now being joined by the president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Mitra Siaga, and the president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, that's Emmy Liba, and the secretary and director in charge of membership at the Small Business Association of Jamaica, the SBAJ, Kevin Frith. Top of the evening to you, gentlemen. Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi, good evening. Thanks for having us.
Of course, Prof will lead off the bowling in this segment.
Indeed, because these are some very grim projections. I mean, we expected them, but it is still devastating to hear the news looking ahead of us 5 years' time, gentlemen. What is your reaction to the PIOJ's projection? And I'm starting with Metri Siaga. What kind of reaction do you have from the PSOJ to the PIOJ's projection?
Concerning, I think, is the way I would put it. And whilst I trust the PIOJ and Dr. Henry's numbers, I am hopeful that they have not anticipated the huge amounts of resources that have come in and the resources that are going to come from insurance agencies and the build back that's going to happen. That's my straw that I'm holding on to. We have made immense gains. And I'm only thankful that we were in the position that we were in when Melissa struck, and that our economy was in such a solid place that it was able to withstand the blow. Yeah, it's going to take time to build back. More importantly than the economy is the lives of people, and we need to make sure that we get those that have been hardest hit secured, and that to make sure that we don't lose any more lives after the storm than we did during the storm. So yeah, it's concerning, but it is what it is, and we have to move forward. And I feel truly blessed to be a Jamaican at this point in time, because some of the stories that I've heard about the resilience of people makes me really proud to be a Jamaican, and I know we'll get through it.
Indeed, Metri Siaga. And Emmy Liba from the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, your response to that question, to the PIOJ's projection?
So I echo what Metri has said. Made it clear interest. I'm a director of PIOJ, but I had nothing to do with the preparation of the report. But in respect of the projections, it has to be looked at in context. So a lot of the numbers that we started out with were recovery from beryl numbers in terms of the corresponding period last year. So it was comparing last year to this year and, coming back from beryl. And now we're going to be in a situation of coming back from Melissa. Now, coming back doesn't mean that you're done. It doesn't mean that you're gone. It just means that you have lost some traction, and you need to recover. The most concerning aspect of it, as in from the chamber side, is the agriculture. The effect on the agriculture sector, is really quite significant. So buildings can be rebuilt, and roofs can be put back on if there's funds and resources, but the agricultural sector does not regenerate quite that quickly. But I think this is something we have to have an eye on, because that also has a direct effect on inflation. When goods and products are scarce, and importation of goods has to be managed if it is appropriate at all. So what I would say is that, the next 6 months and longer, we're going to have to just be very vigilant to ensure that we have the right balance for the businesses in Jamaica, to ensure that they recover as quickly as possible, and to ensure that they are given the best advantages to be able to recover, and there's no that's called import substitution.
Indeed, Emil Leiber and Kevin Frith, you are representing the Small Business Association of Jamaica, the Secretary and Director in charge. What is your reaction to the PIOJ's projection on behalf of your members, but also generally?
Well, yeah, so I agree. I agree with what has been said so far, and we at SBAJ, we are optimistic and positive. With a widespread disaster as this, it's almost automatic that there will be decline in certain areas. But at the same time, there are other areas that will be booming as we look to recover and rebuild. And Jamaican entrepreneurs are very resilient, and I'm sure even though there will be some challenges, but we won't fall out that badly. I'm confident that we'll rebuild and we will become strong again. And I'm happy to see that the DBJ has stepped up to offer this facility to help with the sector and the persons who are affected. So we're very much optimistic that it won't be as bad as projected.
Gentlemen, given the PIOJ's 5-year recovery projection, just picking up on that point of the hope and the anticipation that it won't be as bad as the numbers are suggesting, what should be the top national priorities in the short to medium term? And in particular, from beginning with you, Emil Leiber, since we started off with Mitri Siaga just now, what should be the top national priorities? You did mention agriculture. Outside of that, of course, we know agriculture is tied to the hip with economic growth. Wherever agriculture goes, economic growth goes with it. But what exactly can the private sector do in the short to medium term to ensure that we recover in a shorter time than the 5 years being projected here by the PIOJ? Beginning with you, Emil Leiber.
So I think the role of the private sector is to ensure that it properly assesses its needs right now and gets that needs assessment to the right places, the right voices, so that the resources are in place to build back as quickly as possible. So, what you don't want is a situation where a business is floundering to the point where it goes under, because we know that no business can survive, like particularly the smaller businesses, if it is without income for an extended period and month, can maybe survive for a month or two, maybe even 3, but beyond that, perhaps if you have loans and those things, you have difficulties. Although I do note the moratorium that some institutions have given, have offered, which I think will be helpful to business. So the businesses need to be proactive. The businesses can't sit and wait for help, but has to be proactive.
We've lost Emil Leiber.
Did we lose him? Yes, we lost him.
It does appear so, Prof, that we've lost him. Mitri Siaga, do you want to take a crack at that while we try to get back in touch with Emil Leiber? What can the private sector do? Do you think we can, let's say, do this in 3 instead of 5? Mitri Siaga, it seems we've lost Mitri as well. Mr. Frith, are you there?
Have we lost? Seems that we have lost all our.
It seems yes, it does seem
we have lost it. Okay, so we are getting them back. But while we're getting them back, Tyrone, I think we're getting them back. The projections when we heard them on Tuesday sounded really devastating. Particularly when we had been coming out of what we were told as a growth spurt and looking towards building forward. And I think that's one of the challenges now. Many persons are worried about what will happen next year with the projections for high inflation and rising costs.
4.6%, as we read in the lead in here, even though it's in comparison to another year where we dealt with a hurricane, yes. So we have to take that into consideration as well. But it's still nothing to sneeze at. 4.6% is something positive.
And I think that for our listeners, it will mean significant changes in the price of food items. It will mean changes in the price of fuel. It will mean changes in the price of a lot of things that we use on a day-to-day basis to get around. I think we have Emil Leiber back. Right. Yes, please. Mr. Leiber, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Sorry about that.
Yes, no difficulty. I'm not sure where I lost you or where you lost me. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. You are right. You can go ahead. You are going down the wicket of responding to what can we do to recover in a shorter time, particularly what can the private sector do? And you were trying to lay the wicket for us.
Yes. Thank you. So what I'm saying is that one of the things that we're focused on now, and I think that we can do, is a proper needs assessment, so that we can identify the resources that the businesses need to get back up and running as quickly as possible. So if it is the moratorium on loans, if it is an extension of time to submit GCP filings, if it is that they need to access resources to rebuild the structure, if it is utilities and internet, so the businesses need to be about what their needs are, so that we can get the resources to them as quickly as possible. And that's part of what the Joint Private Sector Initiative is about, with the PSOJ, JCT, and JMA, about proper allocation of resources.
And I think we have Kevin Frith and Metri Siaga back with us as well, Tyrone. So everyone is back. Did you want other responses?
I'd love to hear from Metri Siaga on that in terms of the private sector and what they can do, because the numbers are suggesting 5, but I gather if we are able, there are some things that we might be able to affect that can result in us getting back to where we need to be in less than 5.
So, Mr. Frith said it best, Jamaicans are resilient, right? And I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to take up this challenge. We are going to get back to work. As Emil had said earlier, the private sector organizations came together from day one, and our first and most important role we felt was to get food, water, and shelter and medicine to people. That we have done. The private sector has more than stepped up, given well in excess of $1 billion into relief efforts, and continue to so do every day. But what we have recognized is that we have to pivot now, and we are moving as we speak to a place of giving shelter. So our efforts now are moving towards getting people zinc, getting people nails, lumber, tools, things of that nature. And we will continue that for as long as that needs to continue, and get people help where they need it most. But then the private sector has to turn to its own businesses and start to get the economy rolling again in a real and meaningful way. These times are hard times, but they call for resilient people, and I feel that, as Mr. Fritz said, we are, and we are going to show the world that we can recover from this, and I hope that our numbers will prove it, and that the recovery won't take as long as the PIOJ thinks it will take. We have been known in the past to prove the norms wrong, so I hope we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
And on that note, Metri Siaga, what sectors do you think will be hit the hardest? Which ones you anticipate to face the hardest hits from this, projection by the PIOJ, and which ones might recover more quickly, with the optimism that all of you are sort of pushing forward? Which ones balance it?
The two that come to mind are agriculture and tourism,
who got hit the hardest. One of the programs that we're working on as a private sector initiative is we have spent $1 million on getting seedlings into farmers in St. Elizabeth, and that's done, and we're working through breads that has farmers now starting to replant their crops. So that's one. To the hotel industry, I heard the Minister of Tourism saying that he expects the hotels to be open for the most part by December 15th. That's a record time. I know that our minister is very plugged into the sector and is going to do everything possible to make that a reality. So, I think that whilst those sectors have been hit hard and will take some time to recover, we're going to show that those two industries in particular have shown us in the past through COVID that they can be very resilient and they can do what needs to be done to get the economy back on track.
And, Kevin Frith, if we could bring you back in here, in terms of what you're hearing from the small businesses and your members, any feedback concerning the disruptions that have affected them and whether or not we are staring down the barrel of some of your members possibly going out of business? Have you heard anything to that effect?
Well, there are a lot of members have been significantly affected from the hurricane, but so far no one has really expressed any intention of going out of business. Persons are really more eager to get some form of assistance to start up because, they just can't sit and do nothing. But, there is a term that a former president of the SBAJ normally uses, which is low-hanging fruit. And one of the things, back to your previous question that I wanted to mention, which I mentioned it to Mr. Seaga some time ago, that we're looking, as SBAJ, we're looking for some of the larger companies to, whether to adapt a shop or adapt a bar to help with the rebuilding and restocking of these small shops. No matter how small it is, because any help is real help, because ultimately these community shops and bars move a lot of products for the larger manufacturers and distributors, and the small shops may not have the resources to actually restock or rebuild or fix whatever damages. But I think it would be in the interest of the larger manufacturers and distributors to adopt a shop or a bar in each community. They would have the data as to the shops that have done well with their products and help to build them back, because this would also ultimately solve the distribution challenges that some of the communities face now based on road cutoff, etc. And these large companies don't have the mechanism set up to distribute within the different communities. So I think a part of the rebuilding process, we should look to see how we can pair shops and bars and small people in the different communities with the larger players to see how we can work together to get them back up and running, and it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Indeed, Kevin Frith. And, bringing in on the other side of the conversation, the consumers, how concerned are you about the confidence of consumers and the kind of spending that they'll be able to engage in during this period of uncertainty? Because the consumers are going to be the ones who will probably face a lot of, resource constraints as they move through the period that we are told, 5 years or less. How concerned are you about that consumer confidence and spending? Emil Leiber?
Yes. It is definitely a significant area of concern because we have already seen the news about those businesses which are closed for a year, the major hotels and so on, that are engaging in redundancy exercises and, persons who are laid off, etc. So I think this is where the government is going to have to step in to help alleviate some of that aspect. There are some corporate citizens who are have stepped up to assist, their workers even when they themselves are not earning, and I think it would be good for all of the businesses that who can afford to do that to support. But it is likely that there is going to be a reduction in spending, particularly from the segments of the island that were hit. The other areas that were less impacted, spending may not be as impacted. However, they will be affected by the inflation and the projected inflation and increases in the prices. So overall, I think it may perhaps not be the best time for consumers, but, we are hopeful that we will band together, build together, and, support each other throughout this difficult time.
Indeed, and from the Small Business Association perspective, Kevin Frith, your response to that question, consumers on the ground?
Well, I agree that there will be some amount of fallout, but, while some businesses will be facing challenges, other businesses will be having increases. So I think we just have to look at the different areas where we need to diversify. Some of the persons being laid off from the hotel could look to go in the construction sector because based on the extent of damages and the plan to build out new areas, I guess that sector will be requiring more labor. So while there is a downturn in some areas, there's another area that there will be an increase.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I think we're out of time, but thank you so very much to all of you for jumping on and being with us. We want to thank Metro Siaga, the boss of the PSOJ, the JCC boss, Emil Leiber, and of course, Secretary and Director in charge of membership at the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Kevin Frith. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
have
gentlemen.
a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Indeed. Yeah, we have some heavy lifting to do, Prof. We have some heavy lifting to do.
A lot of heavy lifting. But the word Tyrone is resilience. We keep hearing that word a lot.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to see really what it means.
And Jamaica's economy has really been getting a lot of praise over the last few years.
Yes.
And we have defied a number of odds, and I do hope that this is the latest one. This is the latest one.
Yes, and we hope that we will continue to make preparations because we're in an era of immense climate change, and you see how this climate change can affect our best laid plans have been impacted significantly, and people's lives have been disrupted. So looking forward, we do hope that we will continue to build back and build out as we go through this
Absolutely,
era.
and while we're building back, we hope we're not hit by another superstorm.
But Tyrone, I didn't even want to say those words because I don't want to talk it. No, I have been afraid to use those words because it's such a challenging. Let's hope and pray. We hope and pray.
We have to hope and pray. We have to hope and pray because that Prof, as you've highlighted, without highlighting, is a real concern, a clear and present concern. And the big hitters are not necessarily doing what they need to do concerning climate change. So we just have to hope and pray.
We have to hope and pray indeed. Are we taking a break? Are we going?
Yes.
We are taking a break, and then we'll come back with the final segment before we talk to our callers. We're going to be talking about St. Vincent and the Grenadines business on that side. Yes.
Government administration change in St. Vincent. Soon come.
Indeed.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Loan vibes, loan laughs, and loan entertainment. Come on the road with we. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in on the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. Don't forget to pick up my DJ. DJ Jerome, the shell boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the maddest, baddest, and latest tunes. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come unwind with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat,
life skills,
global connect,
and bust the youth. That's the Talk Up Youth radio show, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth, don't miss it.
Welcome back. Thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us right here inside Nationwide at 5. She's the goodly Dr. Professor Donna Hope, and of course, I'm the lowly Tyrone Reed. And we are in the third hour, and we want to turn our attention now to get some reactions to the election results, Prof. I know you must have been following this one.
Oh, yes, I have been.
Over there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the long-serving Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, his tenure is almost is at an end because Dr. Goodwin Friday, they call him Comrade Ralph. Yes, this is Comrade Ralph, but Dr. Goodwin Friday is the new Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Friday's New Democratic Party, NDP, whipped the incumbent Unity Labour Party, ULP, and that's putting it mildly, because the New Democratic Party, Prof, took home 14 of the 15 seats in Thursday's general election.
Yes, Tyrone, we have been following, what has been happening on the ground. So I was not surprised that the almost clean sweep in a marked improvement over the 6 seats. It's a marked improvement over the 6 seats that the NDP won in 2020. And the win by the NDP yesterday ends almost 25 years of political drought for the party. Dr. Friday has become the island's 7th Prime Minister since its 1979 independence.
He deposes, as I was saying earlier, the ULP's Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, who had served as Prime Minister of the multi-island Caribbean nation since 2001. Doc, you are the academic here. That's what, 24 years?
Almost a quarter century.
Absolutely, that's quite some time.
Yes.
He was one of the longest serving democratically elected leaders in the world, not just the Caribbean, in the world. To discuss further, we're being joined by Minister in the Housing Ministry in Trinidad and Tobago, Senator Anil Roberts. Top of the evening to you, Anil Roberts. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening, Senator Roberts. Good evening.
Good evening, and good evening to the listeners in Jamaica. Good evening to the Caribbean. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Absolutely, we are glad to have you. Of course, we should also tell our listeners that Dr. Gonzalez is the only candidate from his party to retain his seat, Doc. I don't think we mentioned that in our lead-in, but he is the only member of his party to retain his seat. What is your reaction, Senator Roberts, to Dr. Goodwin Friday's leading the NDP to a near clean sweep victory in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, I am not so personally interested in the individual parties winning and who won and who lost, but I am happy when the people of the Caribbean realize that change is necessary, that our politics has become, especially in CARICOM over the last 8 years or so, I've been noticing a very dangerous trend of an old boys, old girls club and a connectivity between political parties and getting involved in the political activities of sovereign nations I realized that in 2023, especially here in Trinidad and Tobago, there was a CARICOM summit on crime, to treat crime as a public health issue. And the Honorable Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, came in, and we were in a local government election. Now, you must realize, I am a lover of Caribbean people, Caribbean cricket, Caribbean sport, Caribbean politics, and I know the great prime ministers of the past would hold up their diplomacy and their diplomatic skill to the highest order, and they would not actively get involved in individual island politics. But Roosevelt Skerrit, as a prime minister, got in here while we were in the heat of an election. I am a member of the United National Congress. We were in opposition. I was an opposition senator. There was a local government election going on, and he came out and was talking to the media to tell the country what a nice guy Keith Rowley, who was the prime minister at the time and the leader of the PNM, was, and how he's misunderstood. And he went on to give him a whopping endorsement smack bang in our election. Then when the media, there was a critical issue that all CARICOM people should be very worried about and should pay attention and read the judgment. It's the Brent Thomas case. Brent Thomas is a citizen here in Trinidad and Tobago with a stellar record, but he is in the arms and ammunition business, in national security, providing winning tenders and providing security services and equipment for decades. And Brent Thomas, because of Keith Rowley, who was the prime minister, he decided that he was going to wage war on FULs, firearm users licenses, and the police were activated here to hound down different businessmen across the board, go into their businesses with warrants to look and create a case or to find. He was in a battle politically with the Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, at the time. But Brent Thomas went to Barbados. He was on his way to see his doctor. He was one of these ammunition dealers, arms and ammunition. There were no charges on him or anything. And a CARICOM jet landed in Trinidad and Tobago, picked up Trinidad and Tobago police officers, then took them into the sovereign airspace of Barbados, landed on the tarmac at Grantley Adams Airport. They deplaned, joined with the constabulary of Barbados, went to Brent Thomas's hotel, took him out, dragged him out at 2:15 a.m., kept him in captivity for 14 hours on the tarmac in a cage, without water, without food, put him on the CARICOM Impact jet and returned him.
Senator, so go ahead, Prof, because I'm wondering.
Yes, because I think Senator Roberts is giving us some information about, politics in Trinidad and Tobago, but also a kind of CARICOM-wide.
Okay, let me.
So can we come back to the St. Vincent? Can we come back to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines election results? Because I think our listeners who are here in Jamaica and across the diaspora, Caribbean-wide.
Let me just wrap it up. Let me just wrap it up quickly. What I am saying is that incident that occurred, Roosevelt Skerrit then said he attacked the opposition here in Trinidad during an election. That caused me to realize that there is something amiss in CARICOM, where there is a sort of a combination or connection of a boys' club. When we asked the Honorable Prime Minister of Barbados, who requested permission, she has not said up to now, and it is clear that the PNM here in Trinidad and Tobago is deeply rooted and connected to certain prime ministers in the Caribbean. So up jumps Ralph Gonsalves approximately 6 weeks ago and attacks my Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who won a resounding victory on April 28 here, defeating the People's National Movement by a landslide. And he calls her misguided and unstatesmanlike because he was supportive of Maduro and this zone of peace and was against her stance to fight against narco-terrorists. And I found it very, extremes that he was so passionate to attack Kamla Prasad Bisesa. So I did some research, and then I found out that he was really connected to Keith Rowley and the PNM here, so much so that his family had received benefits to the tune of $4.8 million of HDC, Housing Development Corporation.
Hold on there, man. We have anywhere.
I think we have to. Senator Roberts, I think we have to rein that in, because that was a conversation that was ongoing, and there are lots of discussions that we are not able to verify some of these.
And we're told Dr. Gonzalez that refuted that as well.
Yes,
right?
he had refuted that on the basis of his marriage, yes, and his wife being a Trinidadian. So we do recall those conversations. But can you just help us, for the sake of our listeners, and we understand the testy nature of politics?
That is where I came in, because I did not know that there was an election in St. Vincent and so on. However, that issue is a very serious one. And the Honorable Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves decided to play tit for tat and not answer some very serious questions. This led to a groundswell of information flowing out of Trinidad and Tobago into St. Vincent. And so the people of St. Vincent, just like the people of Trinidad and Tobago, are rejecting the old politics of elitists, are rejecting the politics of those who believe that they can hand power like a cow down to their family and friends, and the people are rising up, and the people are taking back the power, and that is a very good sign in the Caribbean.
So then, Senator Roberts, so with this change in the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines after a 24-year stint by Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, what do you think this says? Are you in contact with people on the ground in St. Vincent to give us an idea of what do you think this is about the voter sentiment on the ground? Not just his connection to what you're suggesting may have happened between Trinidad and Tobago and other CARICOM partners, but in terms of what is on the ground with voters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and what kind of expectations those of us in the Caribbean looking on can have and expect about the new administration under Dr. Friday?
Well, that's a brilliant question, and that's the whole idea, and that's what gives me hope for the Caribbean, for CARICOM, and the people of the Caribbean moving forward. The people on the ground in St. Vincent and Grenadines have shown that they are tired of the politics of the elites, the rich get richer, the politics of contractors who control political parties getting the largest, and the people, as in Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Rowley said that the people must wean themselves of the government, and his government then went on to recuse themselves 620 times from cabinet for friends and family to benefit. So what has happened in St. Vincent, and it's an awakening across the Caribbean, that we as politicians have to hold up to our oath. We have to be there to serve the people. We must be there to use and manage the taxpayers' resources to the benefit of those most in need on the ground. So the euphoria that you see in St. Vincent mirrors the euphoria that you saw on April 28th on that evening in Trinidad and Tobago. And I feel and I see that it's going to also repeat itself in some other Caribbean islands. So the old status quo is gone. It signals a danger for those who have been the gatekeepers and the young politicians who will come renewed to understand that their job is to serve the people. That is the message loud and clear across the Caribbean.
So, Senator Roberts, speaking as a senator in the UNC government in Trinidad and Tobago, how do you think this new leadership in St. Vincent and the Grenadines might impact on or affect the relationships with Trinidad and Tobago now? Do you think it will have any impact on it?
Yeah, Kamla Prasad Bisesa has great relations with all leaders of all parties. So we expect that Kamla Prasad Bisesa, our Prime Minister, and the new Prime Minister of St. Vincent will be amicable. We will forge trading relationships, make sure that our money, which is not monopoly money, will be respected, and trade and agriculture, and we can help and collaborate on safety, security. Right now, Kamla Prasad Bisesa is focused here on education. She just handed out over 6,000 laptops to our Form 1 students, as she promised. On negotiations for public servants, they've just received a total of 15% for 2014 to 2016 and 2017 to 2019. A groundbreaking negotiation to show respect for workers, respect for labor, respect for the public servants. So I think the similarity in policies of new Prime Minister Friday and our Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, as well as other Prime Ministers in the CARICOM, augurs well for unity, movement forward, and collaboration.
Thank you so much, Senator Roberts. Thank you so much, of course, for giving us your own response from Trinidad and Tobago as a senator in the government to the massive change in government, 14-1, with, of course, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez being the only member of the ULP to retain his seat. We look forward to see what kind of development will come forward as the Caribbean reshapes itself, as you are suggesting, politically for the way forward. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. God bless and have a wonderful evening. And I hope that Jamaica rebuilt and that all the citizens who are affected by Melissa could get some sort of relief. I'm very proud of Jamaica for holding together the community, the strength to take care of one another. That was inspirational to us here in Trinidad and Tobago. We congratulate you for that and we pray for you to rebuild fully.
Thank you, Senator Rob. On behalf of the people of Jamaica, thank you so much. Thank you indeed.
Indeed.
Thank you. And you know that, you said that last point that Senator Roberts ended on. I have spoken with at least three friends from Trinidad. Tyrone, I'm saying this on behalf of the listeners, and they congratulated the people of Jamaica for the way that we have been helping each other as citizens on the ground. They said that kind of energy was very, just as he said it, very inspirational for them to see, because, maybe their reactions may not have been exactly the same, and they are very impressed. And we have to big up Jamaicans, very impressed by the way that Jamaicans went out on their own and have been helping their brothers and sisters in the devastated area. So we have to give ourselves a clap for that. Big up Jamaica. We rate Jamaica, and you are getting a lot of ratings in the region for that, Tyrone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we are bringing that third hour interview segment to a close. Of course, we're up for the next break. We're gonna take the break, but when we come back, it will be time for the calls. Yes.
Yes, indeed. We'll be right back with you. So when we come back, we want you to call us. We want to talk with you. Reminding you of the lines 630-9371-4 and 618-6730. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
They've lost homes.
Everything is gone. Have no house, have nothing.
They've lost power.
No water, no food, no light, no bed. Jamaican people need this for respect.
Some haven't heard a familiar voice in days.
The last thing I said to my sister, please be safe. And that was the last time.
For others, hope is starting to ebb. But together, we are rebuilding Jamaica, one parish at a time.
We have to try. We have to try. Can't give up.
Join Nationwide 90 FM from November 21 to December 19, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, helping families and communities rebuild after Hurricane Melissa.
And you can help too.
Bring your donations, non-perishable food, water, hygiene products, lighting, or recovery supplies to our office at 14 Ocean Boulevard, the Digital Building, downtown Kingston.
Let's show the true strength of our nation: unity, compassion, and care. Together, we can rebuild lives and restore hope. Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Give us strength. Never let I fail.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
We're back with you. Welcome back. We're back with you Nationwide at 5, and we're now going to talk with our callers. I gather we have Bobby as our first caller. Good evening, Bobby. Happy Friday. Good evening, Bobby. Yes.
Good evening to you, Prof, and my good friend overseas. And
give thanks, Mass Bobby.
Right, and Godwin Friday in St. Vincent. Congrats, sir, over there. Yes. I just want to say this. Do you know that our opposition, the PNP opposition that we have here in Jamaica, it is no help to the economy, especially in a time of disaster like now, when a category 5 hurricane has hit us. And imagine, and they are politicizing, you see, the relief effort that the government, the NGOs and so on have been doing to our brothers and sisters down there in the West. Just the other day, a member of parliament, I don't want to call her name, asked the Prime Minister a very chaotic, lie and false innuendo questions in parliament, and the Prime Minister had to straighten her out properly, saying that the distribution down there in the West, it is chaotic and they don't see nobody from the government there. So the question is, the members of the security force, the members from ADPEM, Ministry of Labor and all the other technical staff, they are not from the government. So I cannot see what type of stupid question is that. Right? And
you know, Bobby, I'm actually happy you raised that, because I've been listening to the to and from. Quite frankly, I think the recovery process has been politicized, and it has happened way too early. Enough time has not even been given for us to see how the efforts would unfold, for us to be able to draw a conclusion. People started to say enough wasn't being done a week after, 2 weeks into. We're talking about a category 5 hurricane. We've never seen anything like this, and I was absolutely stunned by how some of the folks had been characterizing the efforts. And the other issue I have is, and the Prime Minister, in response to Dr. Brown-Burke in Parliament, because I heard her question,
she's the same one,
rightly raised that the UN experts are saying something else. Because I asked that question here on this program of a UN expert who came about 2 Fridays ago, Prof, not certain if you recall. She was referencing Dr. Holness's comments quite frequently, and we asked her pointedly how would she rate the response of the government in the aftermath of the passage of Hurricane Melissa, and she basically said that Jamaica's response has been world leading.
That was the word she used, world leading.
No, how can the experts in the field be telling us that the response is world leading, and yet we have the opposition saying that the response is inadequate and it is politicized? There's a dissonance there, Prof.
But Bobby and Tyrone, one thing that we also have to remember, is that Melissa, it hit us November 28th, a month ago, kind of not very long after our general election that had a long stretch ahead of it campaigning, and I get the impression from what you see happening all over that we are still in a kind of post-election campaigning mode, because it can't be because the next election is 5 years away. So it seems as if there is still some of that happening, and it's blurring the boundaries between what we're trying to do for the citizens on the ground and what people are thinking through with the idea that the general election has just ended. There's some of that, and I think that's blurring everything and causing the challenge.
But Prof, I hear you. I won't think, Bobby and Prof, that the passage of the hurricane would have hastened this process of us moving on from the campaign period. Now we need all hands on deck, and the government MPs and the opposition MPs will need to pull together so that we can help the people of Jamaica. But I'm not sensing that. I'm still getting the sense that people are trying to score political points. Offered that really don't have any basis in fact. There's no way the experts can be telling us that our response has been world leading, and then what we're hearing coming out of the opposition is, and it's not helping the process of helping the people of Jamaica. It is not true. And quite frankly, this approach and this advocacy, and I heard the Prime Minister's remarks today, and as much as I understand the frustration of the Prime Minister, that's not, I wouldn't recommend that he respond to them in that manner about not being afraid of anybody. I wouldn't recommend that at all, quite frankly, because that kind of inflammatory rhetoric is not going to help. Yeah, does the government need to put the truth out there? Absolutely, they need to, and they need to defend their record. But that approach I don't think is going to help. But look, we need to wrap this thing up, man.
Right.
We need to wrap this political point scoring thing up.
Right. We need to. And one final thing I would like to say is that no, I really commend the Prime Minister to really respond the way how he responds, because trust me, this thing is very frustrating, right? And finally, you see, I also hear the opposition talking about the government is not letting the opposition involved in the distribution and thing. ADPEM, right across the 14 parishes of Jamaica, always communicate with the mayors and so on. And the mayors are the one who get the political representative involved in these things. So I can tell the opposition, get in touch with the mayor down there in the western side of the country and get involved and stop politicizing this thing, man. I don't wrong the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, stand up just the same way and respond tougher. That is what you must do. Okay, then here, and thank you very much.
All right, Bobby. All right, take care. Have a good
I don't know the inflammatory rhetoric is going to help. Yeah,
but you know, Tyrone, I get the point that you're making, but I also get Bobby's point. So I think somewhere in the middle we have to strike a balance.
Somewhere in the middle.
Leadership is what matters right now. I think we have Omalo on the line. Omalo, you still there?
Good evening. Welcome.
Omalo, we had Omalo. Not sure, because no, we had Omalo waiting, but the point.
We don't have him anymore.
Hello?
Yes, we have him.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Omalo.
Yeah, blessings. You know, yes. Before I move on to what I really call it to talk about, just let me address that issue. Yeah, it is such a thing where we see people experts in this area talking about what the government is doing is world leading in a Category 5 hurricane. And we have members of parliament that a Category 5 hurricane over the years have never hit their community head on. And they cannot respond to that community to give the people a quality life to live all the 14 and 15 and 20 years they are in this constituency and come now complaining about what is being done about what the government is doing in a Category 5 hurricane. It is sad to see, you know.
It's
very sad.
It is, and the Prime Minister, I think, responded appropriately by saying you're not a disaster expert, because the basis of the question, I think, it was unfounded. And who is this helping, you might ask, Prof? And that is the question that we have to meditate. Is this helping the people who have been adversely affected by the passage of Hurricane Melissa? Absolutely not. And they need to cut this nonsense out.
Well, you know, Tyrone, what I really call it to talk to about is that I am having a problem with. Let me ask you a question. Would you feel okay for America or Canada, Europe, any country in the first world to interfere in Jamaican politics?
No country should interfere in another country's politics.
But why is it so acceptable and easy for our politicians leaving our politicians from other country, coming into Jamaica, Jamaican politicians leaving out of Jamaica, going into other areas, supporting political parties in other country, and other country coming in supporting political parties during a time of election in our country?
That happens the world over, doing it. You have sister parties and people who are, if you're left-leaning or right-leaning, if you're a conservative or a liberal, it happens all over the world. But
you cannot do that in America.
Hold on, you ask the question, let us respond.
Cannot go in America
Omar,
and do
you
that.
can ask the question and then respond to it. You asked us and we're responding. Then after we're finished, then you can go again. That's not interfering. If you're lending support to a political party that shares the same ideology as you, that's not what you call political interference, though. And Prof, you are way more school and learning these things.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to hear what. No, that's not political interference. And as you rightly say, Tyrone, that many people share the similar ideologies across parties in different countries, in different places in the world. And you do see people going into different countries during election time or election campaigning and giving support to people who they have these same, similar ideologies. It's not something that is considered a bad thing, a negative thing, or interference in that sense. So I think Omar made that point, but it's not considered in that way.
When me watching America politics, I have never seen a foreign country of any standing where they say we support the Republican or we support the Democrats. I've never seen the Labour Party, or I've never seen the Conservative Party in England supporting no president or no election inside of America or Canada. I've never seen it.
Actually, I'm not so sure that you are accurate on that, Omar.
Well, when you find it, don't say I'm not accurate. When you find it, point it out so that Jamaicans can understand that it happens somewhere else. But I am saying that I have never seen it.
Well,
because that is considered interference.
I'm suggesting to you that since you've raised it here, just go and check if any member of the Conservative Party in the UK has ever spoken at any conference put on by the Conservative Party in the US.
Just go to the United States during a general election and support a political party. I came to the United States during an election and support a political party. You cannot mix up the question, and talk about in times of not election. We are conservative and we have a conservative club. But during election, swaying the American people, that will never happen.
What do you
Amalu, I think Amalu is referring to some specific incident.
Right, that's what I'm getting now.
This part of it, the school challenge quiz thing doesn't really work for me. If you have a specific point to raise the point specifically.
No, it's not a school challenge quiz thing.
No, but I'm saying we are trying to figure out where this question is either coming from or where it's going. So just go straight to the point and let us hear what you're getting at. Yes.
Professor, it's easy to understand if I said politicians are leaving from other countries and coming to other countries.
Yeah.
Ron Gonzalez came to Jamaica. Gonzalez came to Jamaica and supported the People's National Party by supporting a candidate in Portland. We have heard last night on the radio that what's her name from Manchester leave and went to St. Vincent to support the party that won. If this is happening on at the level of our leaders, where we have this type of division, and stuff like this. What the message being sent to the people on the ground?
Not new, Omalo. That's the point we're making to you, you know. This is what you're describing now isn't new. That kind of ideological support has existed for a very long time.
But it's not supposed to exist when there is a political election going on. We can exist outside of the political election, but not during the election. You go inside the people country to interfere in their democratic sovereign process. It is the people's responsibility in that country, not supposed to be swayed by foreign agents to pick their government.
Omalo, we hear you, Lord.
Okay, Omalo, thank you for the point. We have to agree to disagree on that one. Thank you. I think we have Carl on the line, so let's bring Carl in. Good evening, Carl. Carl, good evening.
Prof. Tyrone, good evening, Prof.
Good evening, yes.
Prof, you remember 3 Friday evening ago, I said to you that the opposition was going to turn this thing into a full political.
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyhow, before we go further, you know what I want to say tonight. I heard a member of parliament for St. James today called Pop Choy. Pop Cho. I want to push back on her she must remember that she is a member of parliament now. And young people that are going to school are listening.
Who are you? Sorry, I missed who you are addressing, Carl. Who is it?
I heard a member of parliament for St. James. He was on Cliff Hughes' program today.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's the name of the member of parliament?
I don't even remember. She's a lady, though. That seat. She win back that seat from Homer Davis.
Oh, you mean
Nikisha Burchell.
Nikisha Burchell. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she must remember that. So we out here and we listen very careful. And we have students that are going to school who listen to the news. So when she's speaking, she must pronounce the language them as best as she can and must pronounce the things them right. There is nothing named Pop Chow, it named Pop Choy.
Carl. Carl, I love you a lot. But you know that I am from Linstead, St. Catherine. And it's Pop Chow I go up and know that thing.
Exactly. No, that's the vernacular.
No, that's what we know. Jamaicans know what it means as a Pop Chow. No, I'm just saying to you, and then maybe what you want to say then is that you could say Pop Chow, properly, proper name Pak Choy. But it's Pop. When you say Pop Chow, every Jamaican knew what she meant.
Including you.
Yeah, that kind of Pop Chow is a communication matter.
If that's what you're calling about, you really don't want to say about what you said today.
Tyrone, all right, so you don't want me to clean up that then, Tyrone. Just let the kids them outside so Pop Chow it name then.
So do you have a problem with the vernacular?
Yes, Tyrone. I used to work with a gentleman up by St. Elizabeth. You could never call it Pop Chow for him. You have to pronounce it correctly.
Oh.
Go on.
Pop Chow.
Anyhow, Tyrone. Tyrone, why laugh? Why matters now? This is it. Tyrone, we want our country to listen. Anyhow, Tyrone, I am very... hold on, Tyrone. Like how the Prime Minister lose 14 seats now, and him one left in a parliament as the opposition. We can send through 3 where we have the as opposition leader go join him over there. That's when you have a debate.
We're going to have 3 opposition leaders here?
Yes, man. 3 in Jamaica now. And you have
what opposition leaders we have? Because I only know about one. His Majesty's loyal opposition leader.
Hold on, Tyrone, man. Tyrone, you know better. Andrew beat Portia Simpson, beat Peter Phillip, and he beat Mark Gold. That's 3 leaders of the opposition. Anyway, you take it.
I see where you're going now, okay?
Anyway you want to take it. But I'm very happy that Rhoda Crawford went and helped to get rid of him. Very happy about that.
Well, according to Omalo, you need to stay out of other countries' politics.
No, Omalo doesn't understand politics. politics is what you have to look at in many different ways. I'm very happy. But Tyrone, if you should come here, Tyrone, you come here, Tyrone. The politics is become like we are into a full campaign now. And I'm very happy today what the Prime Minister said. Very happy. Very happy for what the Prime Minister. I'm tired of this foolishness. Even up to today, one comrade tell me how the Prime Minister get all of the gifts them and I put up all of it to thief. Tyrone, if you ever come here and hear some rubbish we talk, Tyrone, you wonder if these people have any sense, Tyrone.
And the dog, that's your dog agreeing with your comments there because the dog sounds like it's what kind of dog?
A German Shepherd. I have to spend hope of money on him though.
One little one like that. What money to this? Eat no.
You have to go vet every 3 months.
Every minute.
Vaccination.
Okay. Yeah, dear dog. You see, a dear dog in my one there, no expensive dog.
I'm not a dog whisperer like Cliff, but is he saying shower labor right? Is that what he was saying in the background?
Yeah, he's saying shower labor right. Every time you select more votes also.
All right, big up your German Shepherd, one of the best set of dogs. Loyal.
Bro, did tell us the opposition did okay in a full force, and I'm happy that what the Prime Minister did to Miss Lady where control processing. So what she need to go do and look in our constituency and see if she can clean up our area. The condition where you come right at 3 Mile Market and look Friday. That's what Angela Burt need to do. Take a look at his constituency and give it a clean up. Or ask the Prime Minister if he can do a tour and see if something can be done to it. The condition where that constituency is into.
All right,
come right at the market. Come right at the market and just look on a high-rising building on that road and look at
but it's a pak chow for you over a weekend.
Pak chow.
No, not
big up yourself. I have something pak chow. No, call is right. Language is important, but call meaning is important. We are communicating. Meaning is all. So big up yourself. Thanks for the call, and your dog sound very well fed and happy. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a well-fed, happy dog. I think we have Michael on the line. No, it's a well-fed and happy dog. Come on. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Queen. How are you this evening, Queen?
Good evening, Michael. I'm great to hear from you, man. Great to hear from your king, man, up in the hills there. How is everything up there with you and the family? Everybody all right?
Yeah, everybody up here all right, you know. Only one little thing. One thing up here right now, you know. We need a tractor to clean a part of the road, you know, because the light truck come up here. The truck come up here and bring the light post and thing I couldn't pass, you know, so sick of that, it stall. You understand? Yeah. So I like them to get a tractor. Queen Miss One is to get a tractor. Or I don't know who to get a tractor and just clear the little place and could get that light in the place, you know?
Which one of the roads that needs to be clean? I know you want back your light. Which one of the roads?
From Guava Ridge to Flamstead, miss.
Guava Ridge to Flamstead. And Mrs. Holness is your member of parliament.
Yeah, Mrs. Holness, the member of parliament for the area, miss.
Mm-hmm. Guava Ridge to Flamstead, yes.
Yeah. The Water Commission coming in to water to one part of the area. Them set from the number 1 part to the number 2, but they have to go to number 3. That's place like Warridge and Dublin Castle can get water. But some damage go on with the line, so the Water Commissioner will come in back and get it fixed. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, man, I understand you. So them working slowly, but you want by the light for that side as well.
Yes,
calling out to Mrs. Holness so that they can probably help with getting that piece of road cleared. But I hope everything work out, Carl, because them working, you know, the JPS is working, the Water Commission is working, and we're really grateful for the work. But I understand that you need the community to be restored as fully as it can be. Yeah, man, we're working. We're working.
You see the Queen come and put PNP and JLP to work, you know, and they must behave themselves and unite and do the work where the lady give them to do, you know. Yeah. Melissa come and give them work to do. So then if somebody then I believe so PNP and JLP time is a time for Jamaica. PNP and JLP the politics things over now and Melissa come and give them work to do. So I don't want to have the quarreling and thing, you know. Then the both of them to come together and work for the better of Jamaica. So I think when I'm glad before this girl come, you know, the election he run and select. You could have imagined if you all next month election to run also the type of bang around where they would have eat.
Yeah, I imagine it, Carl. Can I imagine it? Nobody imagine that. Cannot imagine it. Cannot imagine it.
That's right, miss. So right. That's what the both of them now must put them hand together and work together as a Jamaica and get the politics things out of it and get back the country, you know. Get back the country on foot. Yeah.
All right, Michael.
We're trying to squeeze in another one, Mass Michael, before we have to go.
Michael. Yeah, the last thing, you know. We want to big up the Queen of the Blue Mountain, you know. The Queen of the Blue Mountain, Mrs. Suwan is going to take that trade because she have to take over as Prime Minister of Finance running within the 30s. I would like to see a woman ruler, because anything woman in it good.
All right, Ross Michael predicting. All right, big up yourself and the prediction. That's have a good weekend and thank you for the call. Big up yourself. But unity is important. That's the big part of it.
Yeah.
And fixing that piece of road, clearing the road from Goveridge to Plumstead, and finishing up. I think we have Winston on the line. That's how good the unity point is important. We need all leaders to work together in unity. Michael, I think we have Winston. Winston is there. Good evening, Winston.
Good evening.
Yes.
You people have some good callers, you know. They get through every program, and when them get on, they don't want to leave, so people like me can't get on. Anyhow, finally I get tonight. I heard a caller not too long ago talking about never see any political party in the U.S. campaigning to help the Democrat or the Republican. I want you people at Nationwide to check and look and see if the British Labour Party was not inside the United States campaigning for the Democratic Party in the last election.
Yes, like we're saying to Omar,
that's what you're saying.
Right, yes. We're trying to explain to you that this is a long-standing thing. It's the ideological divide cuts across continents, you know, and it cuts across the channel, as they say, Prof.
Yes.
And it reaches, if you're on the left, if you're on the right, you'll find that there is common ground and people go into various countries to support the parties that share their political ideology. It happens all over the world.
Yes, I know, because I followed the U.S. election, and I know that the British Labour Party was there campaigning for the Democratic Party. Anyhow, that's what I have to say tonight.
All right, thank you so much for the call.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you for the call. Yes, indeed. And, I think that is a big, important point, because that's why I asked Omari. I said, make the point about the specific point you want to make.
That he's referencing, right?
Yes, because there's a specific point that he's trying to reference, and that kind of political activity is common.
Absolutely, it is common. And he may not know, but there perhaps were people on the ground in Jamaica during our political season from other Caribbean territories as well.
Exactly, but maybe because the media wasn't highlighting them and people weren't picking them up, or many persons, maybe the people with the smartphones don't know who they are, so it wasn't making any headlines in that way. But that's a normal thing, Tyrone.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily news. It's not something new.
Exactly.
This is a case of not dog biting man as opposed to man biting dog, you know.
Yes.
It happens so often, it becomes customary, right? So
So it's not something that would make the news. But that's why I said that. I said make the point about what you're asking, because I did see a post on social media where persons were expressing concern about the activity. So I knew this is what he was referring to, but he was not. He was going in around and saying it doesn't happen. It always happens because the political parties, whether they are left-leaning or right-leaning, they do have connection with each other across geographical boundaries across the world. They follow each other, they support each other, and they do it before, during, and after elections. That's a part of what they do.
And lending support to a political party that shares your political ideology isn't the textbook definition of political interference. It can't be.
No, it can't be. It can't be. That's political support. That's
exactly.
supporting
There's
people.
A difference.
Yes, and you usually, when governments are in office, you also see that similar support from individuals. Whether they're in office or in opposition, they get the support from those who are ideologically aligned to them.
Absolutely. You put it so well, Doc. Prof, yes. You put it so well. Political support is not the same as political interference. Absolutely a good way to put it.
Indeed. But I think I want to end on the point that Michael was making about the need for unity.
Absolutely.
Because Senator Roberts from Trinidad was complimenting us and bigging us up for the way that Jamaicans are working and the inspirational fashion. I want to also keep that thought as Jamaicans going forward. Michael's, we want to keep that thought because this is a difficult time. We're looking to the end of November, going into December, 1 month after that devastating Category 5 storm. We have a lot of time ahead of us before we get everything back fully in order. Years, actually. So we have to work together, Tyrone. There's nothing else that we can do. There's no other way.
Yeah. We need to stop this political bickering, man. It needs to stop. It's not helping the people who are in need, and we have a long road ahead of us to recovery. And all of this political point scoring that is going on isn't helping the people who are suffering. I hope we can bring ourselves together and stop. The election is over, and the people of Jamaica chose the Jamaica Labour Party to continue in government and the PNP to be in opposition. And we just have to continue like that until they face the polls again.
And that's another 5 years of what, 2030?
Absolutely.
Another 5 years ahead before we even are there. In the meantime, we are in the trenches with Melissa's aftermath. People are suffering. People are outside. They don't have any roof over their head, they don't have clothes on their body, they don't have food. And people, we are all working here in Jamaica to see how fast we can put our brothers and sisters in the West, in Cornwall and those other parishes, back to some semblance of living the life that they were accustomed to. So we must focus. I mean, that for me is a significant concern right now. We have to focus and keep ourselves focused. That's important. And yes.
Yeah, we're only unfortunate some of what we're seeing. But that's where we have to leave it this evening. We want to thank all of you for tuning in. Thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, and of course our technical operator or pilot Andrew Glenn Anderson. Not just for sets, folks. That's his actual name, Andrew Glenn. Can you believe that?
Bugs, no, well, we call him Bugs. Andrew Glenn Anderson. Yes, big up yourself, Bugs. Yes.
Thanks to all the hardworking members of the news and production team, led by our editor, Carpol. This has been another edition of Nationwide at 5. I'm Tyrone Reed.
And I'm Professor Donna Hope. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.